What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Super Bowl talk, baby. Let's go.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by our doc, make them yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, location in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Let the doc know the boys from A2D Radio sent you. As always, Heel Chrome, Luke Brown, Noah Eaton, Ryan Elizik in the house. Did I get it right? Did I say it right? I think I did.
Yeah, you got it, Tom. Attaboy.
Mikey Buckets somewhere. Who knows where the Buckets is? He had a tough show last week. He's trying to rebound from it. He's trying to get better. He's a grinder. I'm sure he'll be here in a little bit. But we got a lot to go over. Sixers, Heat. We'll break that down later on if we have time. But let's get into it. We're going to break down the whole Super Bowl for you. Super Bowl MVP, score predictions. All right. And who are the Eagles' X factors going into this football game? We'll dive into it all, but we start always with our poll question. Tyrese. Sorry. Is that a goddamn foul? It's a mugging. We just watched a mugging live on air and nothing. Nothing. The Eagles defense will hold the Chiefs offense to under 20 points. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly, we say it every week. Join the conversation, baby. I've been back and forth on this a little bit, right? Because I've been at like 28-24. I've been at like 28-21. And like, I don't know why I'm running from it. You know, part of me's running from the fact of like, he's Patrick Mahomes, right? And I know what he is, right? Everybody knows what Mahomes is. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to put points on the board. But this is a Chiefs team that haven't put points on the board all year. And now I expect against the number one defense in the NFL, I'm supposed to walk into this game scared. I'm supposed to walk into this game saying, they're going to light the lamp. They're going to put up 31. The defense they saw 2 years ago couldn't hold this defense's jock straps. That's how that works. We had a great front four. Our back end of our defense was atrocious, okay? We couldn't cover me or you. We had James Bradbury running around. We had Avonte Maddox, who was hurt every other week. Slay wasn't as good as he is this year, right? Essentially. And we didn't have the safeties. We didn't have the safeties we have now. So I look at all this, and I'm trying to be fair to a team going for a three-peat, to a dynasty and what they are, and respect Andy and his greatness and Pat's greatness. But why am I disrespecting ours? I watched it all year. We've held the best offenses in football. We shut their you-know-what's down. So it's going to happen again Sunday. I completely agree with the poll. I bought into it because how not? Like, we've been that good all year defensively. So why am I scared about it? A below-average offense after the Patrick Mahomes. They've been a below-average offense all year. They're 22nd in red zone offense. 22nd in the league in red zone offense. Who's got the best red zone defense in football? I'll tell you. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. So where are they getting all their points? Harrison Buckner has a bad leg. He's been sketchy all year a little bit. So I ain't scared. If you're going into this scared, we're the big bad wolf, and we're going to act like it. We're going to shut it down Sunday. So great. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Tom. I don't know that they're going to hold them under 20, but I don't think they're going to get much more than 20 or 21. So I'm going to disagree to the poll simply because I think that they're going to find a way to put some points up on the board. I don't think you're going to keep them off. I think they'll get in the end zone once or twice. But I don't see this being – like, the more I'm thinking about it, and last week, and it's not like an overconfidence thing by any means, because you know me, you've known me for years. I've been on this platform. I kind of taper the expectations a little bit, but I just was like sitting and thinking today, and I'm like, I feel the way I did in 2017, and I didn't feel that way 2 years ago, where I look at this team, and you just see like Gardner Johnson coming back. They changed so many different philosophies coming into this year the egos were put to the side all season, and it started at the top with Howie. Like, we talk about how, the Saquon comes in and a lot of credit to guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae who have taken a secondary role to the greatness that we've seen this year of Saquon Barkley. But I feel like that culture was set. And Jalen too, right? Because Jalen's passing numbers are down, but his turnovers are down, and he takes care of the football. But to me, when I really sit and I think about it, that culture was set draft night. When you go out and you address the linebacker position, you address the secondary, you go out and you bring in a Zach Bond, you go out and you bring in a Saquon Barkley, who this team has never spent money on running backs. And, for Howie to sit there and take the accountability and say, all right, I didn't get this right last year. I'm going to change things, and we're going to do a complete about-face on the way that this offense runs. We're going to go, and we're going to, again, go out and get new coordinator. I just felt like seeing how this season played out, there's just something special about this team. And then comparing the rosters from 2 years ago, right? When you take the two cores who have great players, but Hall of Fame players on both ends, I look at where have the differences come in, right? And you look at it and just the overall, and I mentioned this last week, but I really feel stronger about it this week. I'm looking at they have taken steps back. Now, I do think their wide receiving core is a little bit better than when I'm really thinking about it. It's a little better than I think we give credit for. But I'm just looking at upgrades and downgrades. This team, this Eagles team, is legs above what it was 2 years ago, specifically defensively. And with how Jalen is this year, with taking care of the football, the difference was a turnover 2 years ago. It really made the big difference in that game. And I don't think Jalen turns the ball over in this game. And I expect that the Eagles will be able to get at least one in this because they have in essentially every game. We talked about how they had a stretch of like 4 turnovers in like 4 or 5 games. Four turnovers or more, multiple in every game. I just really feel like there's something special. So I think that they put 20 points up, but I think the Eagles are going to put up like a 33 burger here. So I'll give you my score when we get there, but I'll disagree to the poll, but it doesn't change my confidence. You're on mute.
You're spot on about one thing before Luke goes, is that like in 2022, it was more house money, right? Like we weren't expecting that going into the year, and it was lightning in the bottle a little bit, right? It was the start of something special, but we weren't expecting that type of year, right? We knew we would be good, but we didn't know how good we were going to be, right? And to go to a Super Bowl that year, again, wasn't expected. This year, when we talked about the things we talked about in August, this was expected. This isn't, we just found our way here. This was absolutely expected, and here we are. So, great point about 2022, because that was just more like, hey, we're happy to be here.
And last little interesting tidbit, if you believe in this stuff, in all their Super Bowls, when Kansas City's been the favorite, they've lost. When they've been the underdog by Vegas, they've won. So, and they're the favorite.
I like that. I didn't know that. I like that.
Yeah,
I was not happy. I was not happy.
We were the favorite the first time around.
Yeah.
And then last year, San Francisco was the favorite. And then I believe against the Rams, they were the favorite. I'm sorry, they were the underdog in that. So it's an interesting little tidbit to carry with you.
That is crazy. I did not know that, and that makes me feel even more confident than I already did.
Even if it's 1.5 points, which essentially is like a pick 'em, it's still, I don't know. I'm pumped, guys.
I'm feeling good. I'm with you, actually, spot on. I'm fully agreeing with you. I disagree to the poll. That does not change my confidence. I think you brought it up earlier, the difference between, the two teams from 2 years ago and now. I think the easiest way to break down that difference, which is something I think a lot of people have failed to do when they talk about this matchup and how different it is than 2 years ago, I would ask you, and especially the national media people, like, who's our best player on offense? On the offensive side of the football, it's probably Saquon Barkley. And our best 2 defensive players are probably, you can have a debate, but it's probably Jalen Carter and Zach Bond. None of those guys were on that team 2 years ago. So it just goes to show you that literally the best players on our team were not even on the team 2 years ago. It's totally different. That being said, I just find it hard to believe that Patrick Mahomes will not score 20 in a big game. So for that reason, I'll say I disagree. That being said, though, I mean, we're locked in, as you said. A lot of reasons to feel good.
Absolutely.
Well, I agree to the poll. Hey, Harrison Butker, get that leg warmed up. He's going to be kicking a lot of field goals. I think it's going to come down to our red zone defense. I think we're going to get off the field on critical third downs. Yeah, Mahomes, they'll move the ball a little bit between the 20s. They'll put a few points on the board. At the end of the day, we're the better football team. And honestly, when we go down on offense, when we're in the red zone, I see us cashing in. Thanks to Barkley and our offensive line, I think Jalen makes a few plays more than a few plays down the field. Honestly, I think we dominate this game. I like a nice, we'll get into scores later, but I like a nice 17 or 20-point win. I see no way the Chiefs getting 20 points. They'll put up some nice stats. They'll gain a few yards, and in the end, it won't mean shit because we're going to shut it down when it matters most.
Mikey's not happy with you, by the way, already.
So
I saw it.
Harrison.
No, it's not that.
Harrison Butker might kick 4 field goals, and it won't fucking matter. Let's go. Let's get it done. This Eagles defense. Watch them.
We just smoked the Commanders 55-23. We steamrolled them. Wasn't even close. Garbage time points do happen. So I disagree to the poll, but it doesn't change my confidence. I'm with Luke.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna actually agree to the poll, man. This defense is that fucking good. I've been around for a while here. I saw 04. I was young. Like we were talking about, 17. That team was awesome. I wasn't really sure if you'd ever see a team better than that team. The fact that Foles carried us to that Super Bowl I didn't think we'd ever get anything close. 22, like you guys were saying before, we were kind of just happy to be there. And now you have those guys that were here, and Jalen and AJ and Devontae. They all have that extra little push. Slay's got that experience. He never really had a playoff run before that year. Like we said, adding those Georgia boys, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Quinion and Cooper DeJean, and these guys.
Nolan Smith.
Smith, too. These guys are so good.
He's been elite. He hasn't just been good. Like over his last 7-8 weeks, he's put up elite numbers.
I think is he like the leader in sacks?
Yeah,
I think
in the playoffs.
So far?
Yeah. Since BG, we were talking about it on Sunday. Greg brought up, but since BG went out over a 7-8 game period, he has 7 sacks. He's got 8 tackles for losses. He's been always all over the field.
Him and Zach Bond, every single play, you see them in the frame. Always one of those 4 to 6 players on our defense that are crashing to the ball.
Yeah, DeJean and Coop too.
And
those 3 guys.
And CJ, really, it's those 4, CJ too.
Yeah,
we rally around the football well.
Made the biggest leap from last year to this year. I think he's been the most improved Eagle from last year to this year.
Well, that's not even a question. Yeah, it's not even a question. And he had to put on some more weight. He had to get a little bit stronger, and he did that. But you remember in that Rams game, he set a tone in that game. I think it was the Rams. No, was it the Rams game? Yeah, he set a tone in that game on the first play. He took on a pulling guard and lit his lamp. He took on a guy 320 and literally put him out of the game. Or was it the Commanders? It was one of those, right? But either way, he set a tone in that game. And that's a guy who's, you're talking about a guy who might be 240 pounds, 250 pounds, and he's taking on a guy 320 and lights his lamp like that. He's been physical too, and he's another winner. It's crazy the amount of winners on this team. That's why I just don't think the moment is too big for him ever.
No, just a quick mention. Obviously, you go with what's been working. No one's going to get the start here, but shout out to Brandon Graham for getting himself back. And, like, I don't care if he takes 10 snaps in this game. Like, I'm so happy for this guy to get to come back and experience this game and go out on his own terms and not off of an injury or feel like he has to come back because of an injury. Like, I'm very excited for him to have this opportunity to come back and play in this game.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And I think he's going to have an impact.
Well, I'll tell you something too. One of the big things talked about is the entire time he was hurt, he never left at all. They said he was around. He was at every practice, every tape session. He's been with the team, talking with the young guys, helping to coach them up, get them prepared week by week. And again, that's a culture, right? And to have the opportunity now to step on the field with those guys, I think it's I don't want to say fairy tale type of stuff, but again, it's like one of those things where I just feel like it's that year, like I did in 2017. Like, whether they're the better team or not, sometimes you just feel like from the Saquon whole debacle in New York and Hard Knocks, it's just been thing after thing where I'm just like I sit back now and I reflect and I'm like, this feels like
it's all lining up, Mikey.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I mean, listen.
I agree. But listen, the key thing that he said was 2017. We were playing a dynasty, and it was a one-possession game. That's the big thing. I totally agree. This has all the feels of 2017. I think Zach Ballin is like Chris Long. Different example, but like came over here. He's been fantastic. Like, I just think it has all the feels, like you said, of 2017. But again, that came down to one possession ball game and us gasping for air on the last Hail Mary. I think it'll be one of those games. The NFL wants it. They got the matchup they wanted. I could totally see us coming out on top. But like I just said,
yeah, but this
Commanders,
defense this year, Mike, this defense is so much better than it was in 2017. So much
100%.
better.
I would argue it's the
so
best
much
defense we've seen in Philadelphia ever. And there's been
And-
some really
and
good defenses in this city.
And
Well,
that
especially
Patriots team.
considering the rule changes these days that neutered defenses. I mean, Jesus. I mean, defensively, these guys out there, they play. It's like they're handcuffed. But despite all that, they come out, they play to the best of their ability, week in and week out. They get the ball carrier on the ground. They cover all the basics, and their talent shines through. And look, from week 4, or ever since week 4 in the debacle in Tampa Bay. So from week 5 on, from that Browns game at home on, they've been consistent and at time, let's say consistently great. Week in and week out. Great at making the routine play.
Yeah, I'm going to shut something down right now. Mike, Buckets, I love you. But when you're going to come and talk one-possession games, right, I need you to get your facts in order. I need you to understand what that Patriots 2017 team was like offensively, okay? Because they were first in yards. They were fifth in average yards per rush. Pass yards, they were first in football, okay? First in football and throwing the ball around, right? That was an elite offense, baby. This offense that's coming here Sunday or going to New Orleans is not elite anymore. They have an elite quarterback, but they don't have elite stuff around him. They have good players, but not elite. They have not been elite one time this year. They really haven't. This isn't the Patriots offense of 2017, with all due respect to him, right? Tom Brady had 32 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions that year. That's a monster year. Monster year. Their defense was awesome. Like, come on. If I know comparing things is easy, but like, we're going to compare. Let's compare the facts. Let's get it right first.
Tom Brady's
it wasn't comparing the
500
team
yards.
to the team. It's comparing the year to the year. It's just it feels like 2017. That's what we were saying. I'm not comparing the two teams.
But you said
it's just two dynasties.
Again,
like Brady.
No. You said that's why it's a one possession game coming. You said because the NFL wants it and blah 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 blah. My point is, I don't believe it's a one possession game because their offense is not good enough to make that happen. The only way it's a one possession game is if we give that away. If we turn the football over and in our own territory and we do those types of things, yes, then we're in for a dogfight. And I'm not saying that it's not a one possession game until LA kicks a field goal to go up 10, right? That's where my head is. So I don't want to disrespect the Chiefs, but I want to get the facts and make sure they're clear here. They have not seen a defense like this since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The physicality of this defense, they have not witnessed it. And we're talking about the best offensive line in football. Maybe argue one of the best offensive lines of all time, size-wise, too. All right. I mean, this is unbelievable what they're about to deal with. And we're sitting here, and because we want to have respect for greatness, that we're just assuming, not you, Mike, in general, right? We're assuming, well, Pat's going to keep him in the game. Okay. Until he doesn't.
Brady had over 500 yards in that game, too, which is crazy.
Sorry,
but this team,
didn't they have?
I'm not coming at you. I don't want to compare different teams. These are different teams. They're not the same.
Yeah.
They were like top five in every.
I'm not saying 41-33. It doesn't gotta be 41 points, but it might be 28-21. I'm not saying that it's gonna be a 40-point game. It's not the exact same game. It might be low scoring. Who knows?
No, I get what you're saying. I understand the one possession game, and it very well could be. That's where my score's been the whole time, right? But I just don't want to. I don't want to act like they're anything close to that Patriots team in 2017. We had no right winning that football game on paper. Zero right on paper to win that football game. All right, that was lightning in the bottle. That's how curses end. That's Dave Roberts stealing the bag down 3-0 against the Yankees and coming all the way back. And that's how the Red Sox break their curses. That's how curses end, right? We had the curse of the snowball Santa, right? That was a curse. That's been the curse of Philadelphia. It's all we ever heard. And Santa looked like shit. He was drunk. He was skinny. He looked like he should be in Kensington on the street somewhere. And so we dealt with that. But that's how that ends. This is like I keep saying it. We're coming into this the better
the original wiener.
And number one defenses in Super Bowls. Go look at those numbers when you got time. Go look how those teams fare in the biggest games of the year. Because those defenses shut shit down in Super Bowls. It's been well documented for years. So I'm just here to make you feel good.
Well, I think like one of the big factors that's been talked about is
everybody thinks you're scared.
He's not scared.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's not scared.
The chat.
Listen, I think we can still win. I think we will win. I'm just saying, I don't think this will be a steamroll.
Right.
Fair.
I think one of the big factors here, right, is they're talking about let's shut the running game down and do this and that, and they're going to zero in on that and limiting Jalen from being able to use his legs, which is easier said than done. And they talk about how, Kansas City can control the clock with their dinking and dunking, short passes, little runs. But people forget the Eagles this season, particularly the second half of the year, how many times did we see them in second halves absolutely dominate and control the clock? I mean, they had like a 11 or 12 minute possession to close a game out. And we've seen it multiple times, particularly that back half of the year where, the worry is Saquon Pete Alonso re-signed with the Mets, FYI, 2 years.
Yeah, I was waiting
breaking news.
Loser.
Yeah. But
You're a
loser.
Weirdo. I don't want that
weirdo
on my clubhouse. Crazy.
But the whole thing is like you don't want to have the last possession. We talked about this last week, Mikey Buck. It's about like last possession being in Patrick Mahomes' hand. But again, this team, the way they've controlled the clock in the second half and having the luxury of a Saquon Barkley to be able to do that, not only is he the guy that has the explosive plays that put you up, but he's also the guy who can come in, who's the closer at the end of the game as well. And he's just been so elite this year that I think it's not talked about enough. The Philadelphia Eagles' ability to control the clock this year in the second half. And it's like not even a conservative way of doing it. Like they're not like it's very weird, but very like amazing the way the Eagles have been able to keep teams' offenses off the field in the second half of games this year.
And to your point, Chrome, like the storybook, like Cooper DeJean's birthday, Saquon Barkley's birthday, like it is coming together. Like if he could just run the clock out in the second half and just win us a Super Bowl, be crazy.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
It's already the best free agent signing ever.
It's our offensive line just wears people down. So by the second half, opposing defenses are done. They're done. I mean, you have the likes of Jordan Mailata and company leaning on you. All right, through 3 quarters. Well, by the fourth quarter, the opposing defense is toast. Look at the Washington game. We easily put up 21 in the fourth quarter alone. I mean, why? Because the Commanders' defense was absolutely gassed. They had nothing left. Their willpower was absolutely taken from them, thanks to our offense and imposing our will on them.
Well,
Yeah,
so
I respect their defense a ton, right? I really do, but their defense line's good. Their linebackers are good.
I mean, they have a Hall of Famer on. I mean,
Yeah.
easily, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones is insane. Don't get me wrong. Like him and who's the kid that drafted Karlaftis a couple years ago? They're both really good on the defensive line. They're both really just pass rushers. They haven't been very good against the run. Like Buffalo got away from giving the ball to James Cook. I think he averaged like 6-7 yards a carry. And I think that's really where what ended up screwing them in the AFC Championship game. So,
well, like, so I'm looking at the other side of the ball right now, and I'm looking at, because of injury, right? I mean, Jalen Carter is matched up against Trey Smith, who's a huge dude, but he's a backup, and we've seen with Jalen Carter, even with a size disadvantage, what he's been able to do to opposing defenders, particularly guys who are out of position, backing up. And I expect this to be a huge, like, this is going to be the game. And we've seen it talked about. Like, people say, oh, the next Reggie Wright, right? We talked about Derek Barnett because in college he broke his record, and you've heard it a million times. But I think this is the game.
Hey, Reggie.
But, like, you know, Chris Jones is probably the best tackle in football, right? And at least overall considered that. Jalen Carter might be number 2. This is an opportunity for him to prove that he is that guy. And I really feel like he's going to come out and he's going to have a huge game on the defensive line. I think he's going to disrupt Patrick Mahomes. And again, because this team swarms to the ball carrier, I think it's going to be harder for Patrick to be able to do some of the things that he does to extend plays and to create these, like that play that we saw in 22 where he's got a bum leg and he scrambled for 30-plus yards towards the end of that game. I don't think you see that kind of a play in this game with this defense. They are such better tacklers. Everybody, as soon as you cross that line of scrimmage, they are swarming in on you to take you down. I just don't know that I see that, because I do think for them to win, they're going to need a lot of that from that Patrick Mahomes magic. I think it's going to be a lot harder to come by. And Jalen Carter's going to be a beast. He's going to be a disruptor in this game.
And I don't want to disrespect Chris Jones because he's awesome, right? But I can make a case that Jalen Carter had a better year than him. And the only reason we would put Chris Jones over him is because of his track record, rightfully so, right? But I would say that Jalen Carter had a slightly better year than Chris Jones. That's not taking anything away from Chris Jones. Jalen Carter had a monster year. He just did, right? I mean, he's a half a sack under him, but he has like 10 more tackles than him. He has more tackle for losses. So in reality, I can make that case that essentially, and then if I look at the matchups, what's he going to line up? So where is he line up? He's going to line up against Becton, or what's he going to go on the other side and land up against Landon Dickerson, or what's he going to go on the outside against Mulata or Lane Johnson? Like, we talk about Jalen Carter's impact. He's going against Trey Smith, and he dominated, like Pat said, he dominated him last year as a rookie in that game. So that doesn't line up well for the Chiefs. They got to figure that out. And then what are you going to do? You're going to try to double them? You're going to try to do things like that? Okay, now you're opening up one-on-ones for other guys. So I'll always give Chris Jones and Pat Mahomes their respect because of who they are, rightfully so. But, dude, outside of that, there's not a lot of elite stuff running around with the Chiefs right now, and that's okay to say that. When you look at our roster, we keep saying it, like there's elite things. Like, not many teams in football can go. We talk about this at work, but not many teams in football can man you up and shut you down, and then go zone and shuts you down. So how would you like to play it, Pat? You know what I mean? What works better for you, Patrick? Because we can go either way here. And not many defenses in the National Football League can do that, right? They're either great at zone or they're great at man. Most teams can't go back and forth with it. That's what makes us so interesting and different. And that's why in a passing league, in a league where there's a lot of offense, we shut shit down all year. So it's like we keep talking about it ad nauseum, but we're essentially, I don't want to say, like, if they win this game and they shut them down, they go down as one of the greatest defenses of all time. I understand what we're saying right now. Like, nobody was expecting that coming into this year. We expected maybe top 10, right, guys? Top 10. We thought we would be in a good spot. Nobody thought 1, and nobody thought like shut the Bengals down, shut the Ravens down in Baltimore. Nobody does that. And who, the list goes on teams that we slowed down, right? Washington slowed them down. Rams, okay, you're the greatest show on turf. That's cute. We slow you down. We slowed everybody down. Packers, thanks for coming. That's cute.
We
right?
shut down the Rams twice this season.
So the list goes on. So it's like amazing. And I'm not sitting here trying to glaze, as the kids say, but if you really think about it, like if they win this game and they hold them under 20, this goes down in the Ravens. This goes down in that Denver defense. This is talked about 85 Bears. I mean, the list goes on where this team stacks up. The Legion of Boom, right? I mean, this is where that defense will be. They'll be in that type of conversation and rank it however you like. I don't care. But that's what they would be at. It's crazy. Let's freaking go, right? I mean, giddy up with me. Hop on.
The longest 10 days of my life. Long 2 weeks it's been. Chomping at the
Not
bit,
enjoying
dude.
the Pro Bowl? not watching the dodgeball festivities?
I was watching the dodgeball.
I watched the
Dumbest
little
thing
I
I've
watched the
seen.
dodgeball.
I watched the little flag. You know what I mean? I watched the little flag football. So there was nothing on. You know what I mean? It was like they're forcing us. Right now you're tying my hands. You know what, Rye? You know the only reason it hasn't been long for me is because, like, I'm expecting to win. So I'm good. You know what I mean? It's like usually it is. Usually I'm like, I can't wait. And I know what you're saying. You can't wait to bite
I
in.
want to get there. I'm very confident we're gonna win this football game. I think we win by double digits. But it's like, we finished that game and then we were the early game on that Sunday, so we're waiting to see who we're gonna play. Right? I knew it was gonna be the Chiefs. It was never not gonna be the Chiefs. It was always gonna be them. And I'm just sitting there like, all right, cool. Now we're gonna play them. And you guys know one of our coworkers, Chiefs guy. Going back and forth with him for the last 10 days. So I'm just ready to get there, dude. That's it. So.
I had a conversation with somebody earlier, and I'm like,
I tried
somebody
not
was
to.
telling me that someone's a Chiefs fan. I don't know. I mean, when I grew up, I never met a Chiefs fan in my life until like 5 years ago. And it's kind of that whole like Patriots thing, right? Like I never met a Patriots fan until 2001. And it just like it irks me too, like as adults now. I'm like if you're a kid, I get it. You're influenced. You'd switch teams, that kind of thing.
You like a jersey color. Yeah.
Hey, I
like
mean, when I was a
Baylor.
kid, I was a Dolphins
Big
fan when I was a
Swiftie.
kid because I love Marino and I love the uniforms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But-
You're a big Swiftie, and that's why you're on. But anybody that jumps on wagons like that, anybody who ever in the history of jumped on wagons, and those guys will tell you, oh, I was a fan when Alex Smith was there. Okay.
Like, show me the
knock it
pictures
off.
when you were a kid.
Yeah, never won anything in your life. That's why I say to anybody that hops on wagons, you've never experienced winning in your life. And you need some satisfaction in your life. Or you need to be the guy to be like, my team's better than your team. Like, you have no connection. How could you be around here? How could you live in this area, in this zip code, right? And have the audacity to be a Patriots guy unless you're originally from Boston or you got family from there, or a Chiefs guy. Like, who would you like the ribs? You like the barbecue? Grow up, Peter Pan. You're a fraud. Any Chiefs fans are fraud.
Probably
Right?
can't
I'm
even
trying to be nice about it. But it's fraudulent. Like
unless
dad or mom better grew up in Arrowhead. You understand?
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
You
unless
better
it's
live in
you or
Arrowhead.
like your parents or something, I don't really get it. So it's weird to me. Like baseball wise, like I was a Cardinals fan, and you know this as a kid. Part of it was my dad was a longshoreman, so he was on tugboats, and KMOX went all over the country. So, like, he didn't get Phillies games. He listened to Cardinals games on the radio in the 60s and 70s.
Yep.
So I became a Cardinals fan. I was an Ozzie Smith fan. So, like, that's born into me. But I don't understand this. Like, I have no ties to there. And it's not like the Chiefs were good when we were kids. Like, at least with the Cowboys, like, kids wanted to like a winner when you were young.
Yeah, their
Like,
best player
I don't
ever
get
died.
this at all. There's no, and it just, like, I'm curious. You should ask your coworker, when did you become a Chiefs fan and why are you a Chiefs fan? I'm curious.
Tony
I
Gonzalez.
think was it Gonzalez or did he say Jamal Charles? I forget.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This makes it worse. I can't believe we're doing this right now. This makes it worse. And Crump, with all due respect,
You know what that is? Let me Google who the greatest Chiefs are of all time, and I'll throw that name out in case somebody ever asks me. Because there's nobody who became a Chiefs fan because of Jamal Charles or
no, this makes it worse, right? Like, I always say to guys, like, I'm never a fan of a team over one player because they come and go. Like, they're going to come and go as you get older, right? They're going to come and go, players, right? But the team always stays. So, like, I was a huge Manny Ramirez guy, huge Manny, right? I wasn't an Indians fan. If you're allowed to say that anymore, I don't know if you're allowed to say it. We might get canceled tonight. But
Chill.
I was an Indians fan, and I was an Indy fan, and I wasn't a Red Sox fan. I mean, I rooted for him against the Yankees because everybody does, right? But I wasn't a fan. Ken Griffey Jr. is like my idol. You know what I mean? Lefty. I tried to be him. Wasn't him. But the point is, I wasn't a Mariners fan. I mean, this is where I say, like, grow up. Have something between your legs to stand on without rooting for teams because of players. God damn it. This is what we talk about posters above the bed. You don't root for a team because of one player. Like, the whole point of sports, the whole point of it is to feel with your community. To feel with your community, right? To go down the Broad Street, to enjoy it with the family. Like, how could you root for a team 700 miles away for anybody? Like, how do you do it? Like, my cousin's a fraud Cowboys fan, right? Because guess what? He needed it in the 90s. He needed it. He needed to be like, look at me. Look at my team. All right? And he stuck by him. Congratulations. But I'll say it right to his face. He's a fraud. All right? Atlanta Braves fan, too. Like, how fraud? Like, how fraudulent can you be? So I can't talk sports legitimately with people like that. I can never do it because I look right through you. I'm like, I see you. You're a fraud, right? No disrespect. You probably know the game, but you're a fraud. So I'm not going to have arguments with fraudulent people ever in the sports world. That doesn't mean these people aren't great guys. I love my cousin, but he's a fraud. It's okay.
I'll tell him he'll never see an NFC championship game again.
No.
While Jerry's around.
Well, even when Jerry dies, his son will take over the team.
Right.
Still gonna suck, so it won't matter.
That's true.
He'll never stop. But you guys, I think you guys all agree with me there. It's not shot at these guys. It's just like, how do you, like, the sense of community, the sense of, like, talking to your brothers with it and going through the bad times and the good times, like,
the starter pack for that is it's Cowboys, Yankees, and wherever LeBron's at.
Yeah.
That's the starter pack. The LeBron fans are holding strong. He's still in the league doing it. I don't know what they're going to do in 10 years or 20, however long it takes them.
Who retires first, LeBron or Luka? Might be Luka.
Could be.
Very well could be.
Ronnie James.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brian?
I don't know how people sit and feel about, like, the sports is rigged thing. It's a stupid conversation. I get it, but it's like, I don't see this game becoming a blowout. Like, double digits, I could see, absolutely. But how does that happen? Like, is it a Jake Elliott field goal with 3 minutes left, clutch, that puts us up 10?
Right. Yeah.
But,
that's how I'm
like,
same page. Yeah.
You got Travis Kelce possibly playing his last game.
Going to run up and down and run over, around, and through the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because he's the best running back in football. Oh, by the way, we have the best offensive line in football. Oh, by the way, we take care of the football. We don't turn it over. Defensively, we've done nothing but force turnovers and get after the quarterback. Honestly, I think we dominate this game. As long as we show up, ready to play, and take care of business from the kickoff to the final whistle. This should be no problem.
We're seeing some Will Shipley taking snaps.
Sure, why not?
Hey.
He'll go 60 yards to the house with 5 minutes to go in the game.
Oh my God! Now we're getting
Yeah, the real victory formation is Kenny Pickett getting a snap in the fourth quarter.
Nate, go take a ride on the ship down there in Tampa. All right, go ride your ship with your pirates. All right, down in Tampa Bay. Would you not
Ever
get
meet a
off?
Sixers fan in your life?
Like, we don't think we're beating everybody, but when we're great,
No.
we're great. Like, when we're great, we're great. Why are we never allowed to say, like, yo, we're that good? Like, if you watch the Chiefs this year and you actually believe they're as good as us, I can't help your sports knowledge. I can't help anybody's. I really can't. If you watch them all goddamn year and then you sit here and say that they're just as good as us, you haven't watched. You just haven't watched. You look at their record, you look at their pedigree, and you go, oh, well, it's simple to say they're better. Okay. That's why I tell people to buy a million clues, because I'm selling them. Does that mean they can't beat us? Absolutely they can beat us. That's why you play the damn game. But don't sit here and tell me that they're better than us. Like, this isn't a body of work. Every year is different. Every year is different. And your track record does matter until it doesn't. And on Sunday, it ain't going to matter. I'm fired. I almost want to go blow that now. I'm like roll chop. This is like Cowboys Bills when they put up like 55 on them. You know what I mean? And Leon Lack could have went for more, and he got stripped from behind. No one knows. And Chrome.
Yeah, Don Beebe ran that son of a bitch down.
The only Bills celebration ever. That's not true, Nate. That's not true. Now you're lying again. I don't know what podcast you listen to. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow now. All right, but I don't know what podcast you listen to. But over in these neck of the woods, we keep it 100. You know what I mean? You just started tuning in when we're great. So what are we going to come on here and lie to the people? It's a worldwide leader of real talk. We're not going to come on here and tell you, well, I don't know. I mean, we've been iffy all year. Like, what? Have you watched? It's the greatest show on grass, turf, wherever the hell you want to put them on. Who's stopping this offense consistently? Consistently, who's stopping it? Who's stopping it? Tell me. I would love to know. We'd love to find out that team. Goodness gracious.
Nate's a Bucks fan from Mount Holly. He doesn't count.
They don't count again.
And we went 14-3 and we're in the Super Bowl, so pretty damn close. If anyone predicted 15-2.
Nate knows I love him.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
Nate doesn't know. Nate doesn't know anything. He's a moron.
We're just taking the gloves off of Nate now. He's throwing blows.
He deserved it.
All right, let's get into scores.
Tony G said Chiefs 35, Eagles nothing.
Tony G. Hey, Tony.
Fraud.
Hey.
No.
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed on broad, Tone. If I see you on broad, don't let me see you on broad, Tone.
He didn't say.
All right, Anthony.
So you can kiss my ass.
You can kiss my. I'm going to go last. I want to go last.
Pizza's coming, Tony G.
I'll go first. I got to grab my phone charger after this anyway, real quick. All right. So we're just doing predictions, or are we doing MVPs as well?
We'll wait on that. We'll circle back. Right. We'll spin it back around.
So score prediction, again, I disagreeing to the poll. I do think that they score more than 20 points here. So I got the Birds winning this game 34-23, an 11-point win. And I do think you're right, Mikey. I think that the guy who has struggled this year in the toughest year as a professional for him is going to be the guy that when you need a kick to turn this into a 2-possession game late in the last, say, 2.5 to 3.5 minutes is going to be Jake Elliott, who's going to put this game out of reach. So, yeah, I got the Eagles 34-23.
I'm going to go 27-23, and it's close. And before we got into this week, I was really scared. Tom alluded to it earlier of Mahomes getting the ball in the last drive of the game. That kind of scares you. I think what people need to realize, obviously he's not as good as him, but name the big game where Jalen Hurts played like crap. And the big moment where he didn't show up, and the big drive that we needed in the game and he didn't get it. So people forget. I mean, they tried all they could in that first Super Bowl that we played 2 years ago to make sure that he did not get the ball back because he was that dangerous. So I think that people while it's more than okay to understand and acknowledge the respect that Patrick Mahomes deserves, I think people are kind of disrespecting our quarterback and forgetting who the hell he is. He's a big game player. Flashy, but he's a big game player. So I'm comfortable in a close game as long as they don't turn the ball over. That's it. Whoever wins the turnover battle wins the game. So I'm just putting a ton of faith in our quarterback this week in a big game, biggest spot in his career, legacy game. Like, people throw that out there, but like, this is a legacy game. He climbs a lot of lists with a win.
You couldn't be more right ever. That's all I got for that one. Couldn't be more right ever.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Bucket.
I'll go 30-21, and I agree with Chrome. I think Elliott hits a field goal to put us up. But I don't know. What is that?
You went on this whole thing for 2 weeks now. You know what I mean? You've been on this whole Mikey Uncle Buckets rebuttal, and here we are. Now you're like in a 2-score game. You're back.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe let's say 29-21. Keep it.
All right, he's changing it up now. Look, you changing the stripes. Don't let me change the stripes.
No, I do think it comes down to Elliott. Does he make it? If he makes it, then there you go, 30-21. He misses it, then we're shaking in our boots with Mahomes with the ball, and hopefully the defense stands on their heads like they've done all year.
You're right.
That's just where I'm at with it. I truly think it comes down to Elliott's foot, and I feel like every time you have to have it, he makes it. He misses the dumb ones. He misses the home runs where first play from scrimmage, Barkley takes 78 yards, and he barely took his helmet off, and now he's got to go kick an extra point. Those are the ones he screws up. But like when you have to have it, snow, sleet, hail, Elliott's trained to go, baby.
I love that line. Rain, sleet, or snow, the Eagles are trained to go.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I'm thinking we're up double digits pretty much the majority of the game here. I'm thinking it's like I think the final score, I got 31-20 final score. I think we're up like 28-13. Mahomes gets the ball back, scores a touchdown, and we put together one of those like 7-8 minute drives in the fourth quarter, just murder the clock. Elliott kicks like a 26-yard chip shot field goal. We go up 11, and then no, defense just either we get a turnover or the clock runs out or something. I don't see how they're going to move the ball and score, touchdowns on us. This defense is too good. The offense can just weigh on you. That offensive line is going to get after them. I really don't see how we lose this game. I really don't. We're just the better team all the way around. And like we said, I think Hurts, after he performs well in this game, he's going to be not even arguably in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. I think he already is. But like you put him in the conversation with like Lamar, Burrow, and Allen, and with like Mahomes is that top guy. Because right now everybody's trying to say he's like the tier below, and I just don't believe that. Because like you said, he just shows up in big games. So
Yeah,
I got 31-20.
Yeah, and I think like to add to that, I think one of the I guess it depends on how you define elite, right? Because he's not as talented in terms of the statistics that he puts up, but his leadership, his ability to protect the football, his relationships, I think he has, that it seems like he has with the players on this team, with the legends that have moved on from this team, like a Fletcher Cox, who rant and rave about how this guy has control of the room when he talks, and his ability to play in big games. We've talked about it since 2022, way more often than not when this team has needed to drive late in games. He has provided that. Now, there are games the defense has fallen apart after that, if they put a score up with a minute and a half and then the defense gives up a score at the end of the game. But when he's needed to move down the field and put up points in pivotal moments, this guy has risen to the occasion. And that was one of the big questions, Tom, if you remember 2 years ago, that you asked, and you said, I need to see this guy take control at the end of a game and move this team down the field. And he did it last year when he beat Buffalo, and he beat Miami, and he beat Kansas City. He beat a lot of big elite teams last year with big possessions in the last 4 minutes of a ball game. And he did it again this year when they've needed him to make plays. And obviously with Saquon as well, doesn't hurt that. And I think that That's where he deserves to be in that conversation with them. I'm not going to say he's a better passer than Joe Burrow is, or he's better with his legs than Lamar is, or he's running guys over with the ability like a freak of nature like Josh Allen does. But the dude just wins. He wins. He's gotten to 2 Super Bowls, and if he locks in a Super Bowl, he has something that none of those guys have. None of them. And then you can make the argument, too. He won one, and the first one they lost, yeah, he had that fumble, but he outplayed the GOAT in that game.
Well, there's 2 words I think when I think of him, and I've seen his growth. There's always a sense of calmness, right? Calmness is a key here.
It's always the same.
And he's always the same guy, right? He's never too high, he's never too low, and that matters. And I've said this in sports for years, and I don't think enough people really get it. You guys do, but like enough people really, I say casual fans don't get it as much. At these levels, people follow the leaders. Who's getting paid the most money, right? Who's the captain of the football team? So how you go about your business translates. I mean that it translates all throughout sports. It does. Like when you talk about Mahomes, right? There's all that around him makes guys better. Guys work harder. So when you talk about Jalen, it's the same conversation, right? Guys around him see his work ethic. You bring in a Saquon Barkley, who's a well-known leader, and his calmness and his leadership and his work ethic, right? And you surround these guys that are leaders that work their asses off. This is what you get. This is what you get. And all the extra stuff, the data, Chrome, like, people rolling the data, how hard a guy throws, all these other things, they don't matter when you play the game. I try to tell my kids this. Your data don't matter, babe. You can have exit velo of 100 miles an hour. But if you can't hit the baseball, what does it matter? If you can't hit the curveball, what does it matter? I'd rather have a guy with an exit velo 85 that's a contact guy. He's a contact king because he's going to get hits. So how hard I throw and how fast I run and all the other stuff does not matter when you shoot it up and play. Who's a winner? And the greatest thing you can say about Jalen Hurts, win or lose the Super Bowl, is he's a winner. Right? He's gonna get one Sunday, but he's won. He's won 2 NFC title games in 3 years. He's got a ton of wins. He's got a ton of signature wins. Right? Is he perfect week in, week out? No, he's not. Nobody is. But winners win. 34-17, I changed my stripes. Roll it. Night. Thanks for coming to play. Everybody talking about the refs and all this shit. Players play. And when you get dominated up front, you don't hang in ball games. So somebody riddle me how they're hanging in.
They're not. The Philadelphia Eagles will dominate this game. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. All right? Dominating the line of scrimmage. They're going to win the turnover battle. And, oh, by the way, we have Saquon Barkley, and they don't. Barkley finds the end zone twice. He runs for over 200 yards. Yes, you heard me say it. All right? And we're winning this fucking game 38-10. Night.
38-10. Let's go.
Yes. Wow. Yes. You heard me. 10.
Wow.
1-0. So 1-5 goes home a loser.
Oh
yeah, I'm so
don't
invested
leave
in
it up
us
to
winning.
the refs. Don't leave it up to the conspiracy theorists. Let's leave it up to the 53 Philadelphia Eagles, who are the best team in the National Football League during the 2024 season. And let's cap it off right.
Yeah, I'm so invested in it. I want them to win for so many different reasons. Number one, Hurts is a winner. The stats are there, but he hasn't won. So it's just funny calling a guy a winner of something that he hasn't finished. And I would love him for him to finish. Not that Super Bowl was his fault. It's not a knock at him. It's just like, I want him to win this so bad so you can say, yes, he's a winner. I know all the stats are there, and you're not wrong in saying it. I also want Barkley to win because 7 years rotten in for the Giants. He's been a perfect acquisition. He's done it the right way. You want BG to go out on top again. You hate the Chiefs. You hate the refs. You hate the conspiracy theorists. You want your lick back. You want to get your get back on this team. It's a dynasty. Everyone hates Taylor Swift now in Philadelphia. Taylor Swift is an Eagles fan, first of all.
Love her
She's an
music.
Eagles
Yep.
fan.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I do like her music.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
exactly.
I like some of her songs.
Either way, she's an Eagles fan. So she's a fraud wearing that Chiefs red. You want to talk about frauds? Walking around the Eagles crew necks 5 years
Exactly.
ago.
I mean, when that's who's taking her home at night. I mean, if she was wearing
Listen,
Eagles stuff.
Jason Kelsey's in the family. She can wear Eagles stuff.
Yeah, but I don't. That's the one thing I don't think. I disagree with one thing with you, Buckets. That's all. To say he's not a winner, like I think that's unfair when he's still a young guy and he's won 2 NFC title games. I think that's a winner.
It was absolutely a winner. No, he's absolutely a winner. I'm saying the trolls
you're right.
online that tell you, but he hasn't won.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's a stamp. It's the final nail in the coffin. Shut your mouth. It's the same like Russell Wilson type thing.
Right. They're the same player. They have
really
the ability. He has the ability to have literally the exact same legacy as Russell Wilson, which he had a fantastic career. They're late round picks.
And when we get to the 1 yard line,
and Russ is a weirdo.
Give it to
Russ is a
Barkley.
weirdo. He's a well-documented weirdo. And I don't think Jalen's a weirdo. You know what I mean?
Tush push.
Like Russ is raising a rapper's kid. He's a weirdo. But that doesn't matter. Raise somebody else's kid is fine. Be a great human being. I'm not taking shots at that. But he's a well-documented weirdo. All his teammates said it about him. Like if Jalen went somewhere else in 8 years from now, none of his former teammates are gonna be like, that guy was a weirdo. Like it's not gonna happen. Russ always been a little bit of a creep. Like anybody running like plays like in a game prior to the game with no offensive line and you're audibling, like I don't know. I just think look at me. I don't know. I'm anti-Russ, but the point of comparison, the comparison is very similar in terms of the player and the team around them, right? Like it's very similar. I mean, Jalen's got. I mean, this offense is way better than what they were rolling out there too. They were a big play offense.
Right. I think to your point, I think it's kind of a stupid debate to have. It kind of goes against everything I say. Like, who cares where you have him ranked? Personally, I don't see a world unless he throws for 400 yards when we win the game, where you could say, if you're making a top quarterback list, he's better than obviously Mahomes, but Burrow, Allen, or Josh Allen. I don't think you could put him ahead of those guys. I think a win puts him directly behind him 1,000%. It gets rid of like the Staffords and that crew. Like it eliminates them.
Well, sure. I think he like in all fairness, and I've always said this, like he's not the same passer as Burrow, and he's not, he doesn't have some of the intangibles that Josh Allen has, and the list goes on, Lamar, whatever, right? But if he wins, I hate to break the news to the public, he jumps cats, all of them, because at the end of the day, that like let's be fair at the quarterback position in the National Football League. The second I turned on the TV, right? From the second I turned on the TV, it's your legacy is based off winning and winning titles. So if you have more titles than a guy, with all due respect, and your numbers are similar-ish or close enough, you're better. You know what he is? He's the Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys. That's what Jalen Hurts is, essentially, right? Obviously, different players, but it's the same comparison. It literally is the same comparison. And Troy's a goddamn winner, right? Troy's a winner. And so you fought Troy because he had Emmett, the greatest offensive line maybe ever before ours, and a Hall of Fame wide receiver and a great defense? No. But the guy won. Because what did he do at an elite level, Troy? Oh, riddle you for the younger generation. He didn't turn the football over. So, like, Troy jumps guys in his same generation that had better numbers, right, Luke? You know what I mean? So, like, use Marino and other guys in his generation that didn't win. Like, and I love Dan, but he jumps them because Dan didn't get one. All Dan needed was one. He didn't get one. So the point is, if Hurts gets like 2 and Burrow has 1, okay, you can make the case Burrow's better because his numbers are way better, right? But if they don't get any and he does, the way I judge it, and his numbers are good, you know what I mean? They don't have to be great, but they'd be good, right, Luke? I think he jumps them.
I really want to agree with you.
Me too.
I don't.
So
I want to agree with you also. I think it's.
I was trying, guys. I was trying. I'm sorry.
You won't lose. You won't lose because of Hurts.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Am I smoked out for saying that? You won't lose because of Hurts, but will you win because of him? I don't know. I feel like you win because of Joe Burrow.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I'm
trying to make it make sense. I'm happy.
But dude, he'd still be the fifth best quarterback in the NFL. Like that's a big deal.
Well, let's hold up on Joe for a second because I love Joe. Okay, but let's not act like when Joe was winning, he didn't have a damn good running back and he didn't have two pimps on the outside. Let's not act like he's doing it with less. I love that argument. Offensive line wise, sure, I'm in agreement there. Right on one side of the ball, I'm not even talking defense. We're not even going to do that. We're just talking the offensive side of the ball strictly, right? Outside offensive line, Jamar Chase pimp, T. Higgins pimp, okay, and Joe Mixon pimp. So let's not act like when he was winning that he didn't have stuff around him.
Oh, they were
everybody who wins has stuff around them. It's the worst argument of all time. Lamar is loaded in Baltimore, but he's a fraud in big games. I hate to say it. He's a fraud in big games.
Well, so like
Lamar's a big fraud in big games. I absolutely agree. But the thing is, his receivers, it's always bothered me. He has no receivers. Like, I get you if Derrick Henry hand the ball off. Lamar's legs are great, but he loses every year in the playoffs because
he has Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is good.
He was good, but he was out this year. He's 4'0". But he's a good guy. I mean,
well, it's the dog and pony show over there. He don't need a 6'5" guy. It's the dog and pony show. It's run around. Everybody run around, right, and make plays on the run. Like, let's not act like he needs. Like he's going to go well with an A.J. Brown, to be honest with you. And Lamar's got so much better passing, too. Like, I give Lamar credit.
I mean, Bateman's a good wide receiver, too. I mean, he's got weapons there.
Yeah, it's a bad take.
Well, so, like, first things...
Bateman. You'd be wide receiver 5 on this team.
First things first. Spellman asked the question, when's the last time Hurts threw an interception? That was week 10 against the Dallas Cowboys. So he's not thrown any INTs since then. He's only had 5 this year. I think where the conversation changes in terms of where Jalen Hurts sits amongst those quarterbacks, again, on the raw talent, he's not at that level, and he's not ever going to be at that level. But I think it does change the conversation on what is considered elite. I think it changes the way he's viewed historically going forward. And again, I think it does put more like – everybody says, "Oh, we'll go and we go for the most talented, the raw talent." But I do think that people then start looking at pedigrees of guys like a Jalen Hurts who played in the national championship games, played for 2 big college programs. He had one game where he didn't play so great, but he had another game where he played pretty fantastic. So I think that you look at differently of does your organization, because it feels like the conversation had now is always, if you don't have a Burrow, an Allen, or a Lamar, you're like, or like a Matt Stafford, who is a different ilk, but like you don't have a chance to win a championship while Patrick Mahomes is playing. And I think that's not necessarily true because of the intangibles as a leader at the quarterback position that Jalen Hurts has. And again, I think what changes the conversation in the NFL right now, there are 3 active quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. It is Patrick Mahomes, it is Russell Wilson, and maybe not active after this year, but Joe Flacco. There are no other active quarterbacks that have started and won a Super Bowl in the NFL. If Jalen Hurts adds himself to that list, that puts him right at a top tier. Who's that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Matt Stafford.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers, right.
And Stafford.
Yeah. But like all right, so let's put it this way. Anybody under 30, there's one guy. Under 30. We're not even talking about like some of these guys won it like 20 years ago. We're talking under 30. There's
Stafford,
no other quarterbacks in the league. And how many years have we seen
Stafford
guys come
might be
into
the most underrated quarterback of all time.
Oh, Matt Stafford's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I was not on the Matt Stafford bandwagon at all. I was not at all on the Stafford bandwagon.
He's tough as nails. He's tough as nails. And like I said, he was just in a shithole besides Calvin for years. And the second he gets around a real coach and a guy who can really scheme it up for him, he wins the Super Bowl. So it's like
if anybody earned it, it's that guy.
Yeah, he's like the Dan Marino of the generation, in my opinion, in a way, because he can flat out spin it. I don't think enough. Like we're looking at him now, but like you look at Matt Stafford at 25 years old, that dude could flat out spin the rock. Like he would have been like the Marino of the generation if he didn't win one. Like great numbers, right? Awesome numbers. You could probably argue Hall of Fame numbers, right? But never got to playoffs, right? Never won anything.
Can you imagine him now on that Lions team with those weapons that they have now?
Oh my God, baby hand Goff would be out of a job.
I don't think anybody would beat that team, like including us. I mean, that offense would be.
We were always right about Jared Goff, right? Too. We've been right about Jared Goff for years. The baby hands.
Him and Darnold, they're in the same class. Nobody was.
I do think you can win with Jared Goff, like in the situation he is now.
Oh, totally.
If they're Super Bowl. Like I don't know that I could see an organization winning with a Sam Darnold. I think Darnold is better than people have given him credit for, and I hope that he can carry that on from what he did this season. But I do think Goff is better than we thought. But like I don't think he's anywhere close to like elite or anything like that.
Well, two things.
I think he can win in Detroit.
Two things will always show, right? One, when you see Ghost, you're going to see him again, babe, at some point, right? So the guys are going to always hold true to their stripes, always. Okay, and then who was the other guy we were talking about? That's not Stafford, Goff, right? Baby hands is always going to get you with turnovers at some point. You know what I mean? But again, they both really resurrected careers still. To give them both credit.
Didn't Goff throw 5 picks in a win this year?
Yep. I mean, I never thought Jared Goff was good. I think he's a game manager overall. I think they made him look better than he is in Detroit because I think their offensive game plan and their skill position players and the things they have can really allow that to happen because he is a good distributor of the football. But he's always those turnovers are always going to come back to bite you at some point. And that's why guys like that can't win the whole thing. They won't win the whole thing. If you turn the ball over too much, you're never going to be consistently in NFC title games or Super Bowls. I mean, Mahomes' biggest asset outside of he's just special is he doesn't turn the football over. That's why they're in every game because he really does not turn it over. So, I mean, that's his whole track record for years. Now when he had Tyreek and stuff, they were spinning all around, but he still didn't turn the football over a lot. He's always been really good with that. Why did Donovan McNabb go to 4 NFC title games and then the Super Bowl? Because he didn't turn the football over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you will get there if you just take care of the ball. And you're good. You got to be good, right? But take care of the ball. It is
interesting, though, because I couldn't give you the exact stat. But actually, Patrick Mahomes, although in the regular season he does not turn the ball over very much, playoff-wise, he's had some huge turnovers in games. He's actually turned the ball over at a higher rate in playoff games than he has during the regular season.
Who's that?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes? Okay. I didn't know. I didn't hear you. I didn't know you said Stafford or Mahomes, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Mahomes.
I need Sirianni to not cry during the national anthem. If he doesn't cry, Birds by a million.
I literally said the exact same thing yesterday because they showed the clip of that. I said I'll be wondering to see if we'll do that again. We'll see.
Doesn't Chris Jones do that too before every game?
He does.
I never understood that. Is it that?
Yeah, that was a one game. That was one game too.
You never suited up. You know what I'm saying, babe? Like you never.
Listen, the national anthem has never tugged at the heartstrings. It gets me juiced up, gets you fired up.
You're in the wrong generation, babe. You know what I mean? That's why. You're a little younger. They stopped playing it in schools. You know how it went. You know what I mean? I'm just messing. I'm messing.
I used to say I used to do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, crying.
Did you stand up? Did you stand up? No, we're not talking about the Pledge of Allegiance. No, we're talking about the Pledge of Allegiance in a goddamn homeroom. We're talking about Pledge of Allegiance in homerooms now. We're comparing that to Super Bowl national anthems. That's what we're doing. I mean, come on. I'm not going to cry either. I'm right on board with you. I'm not crying. I'm ready to go to war.
Listen,
you know what I mean? It ain't emotional.
As a player, whatever. But as the leader, you're supposed to be the leader, man. And he's silenced a lot of critics this year. He's been fantastic. Like his whole tenure here, he's been great. I thought like up until the Saints game, he was atrocious. But ever since then, he's been great. Like he's made every right call. He has not getting in his own way. But like, please just don't cry before the game. Like leader of men, just be tough. Cry when the Lombardi trophy's in your hand. Go nuts.
Yeah, do you think that's like some of the notes he wrote down? From like
I don't care.
Yeah. Don't cry.
Cry.
During, after. I don't give a shit if fucking Jalen Carter cries on Patrick Mahomes' shoulder while he's fucking shoving Mahomes into the fucking Superdome turf. All right?
I don't know what it is. Like, it's like we got our head coach is crying, Embiid's crying.
Crying.
Enough with the tears. Everyone's crying.
The city,
Face paint guy, the face paint
city of tears.
streaming down the face. Face paint.
Yeah.
Cry as much as you want with the Lombardi. I don't give a fuck after that.
Absolutely. When the confetti's
Dude,
falling, let it
Yeah,
rip.
you could pin that up against the wall and dry hump that shit, crying your eyes out. I'm all in. You know what I mean? I don't care what you do after the fact.
I don't care if there's more water in that Superdome than there was for Katrina. Shit.
Oh,
What?
oh.
What?
Oh, it's crying. I got you.
Let the tears flow.
Tears flow. Yeah.
Yep.
Too soon? It's a too sooner. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's a lot of disasters after. We're clear of that. You know what I mean? They're back to normal, so you can go there. You know what I mean?
That's all.
We're saying too soon. Like we didn't hop on here for a Rams show going, there's fires. I'm nervous.
Well, it's true.
LAPD on Sean McVay's hat.
It's the truth. Everybody was wearing LAPD. You weren't
Absolutely.
You weren't thinking that.
I'm saying there's no such thing as too soon. I'm saying there's no such thing as too soon.
No, but that wasn't too soon because that's just like telling you, ooh, I don't like that. NFL would love to sell that. You know, donations would go up. I know how it works. You know what I mean? I know how this works. So, you know, that's where it was at. But it was no like the tears at Katrina. I wasn't, you know what I mean? That guy was out of line if he said that 10 years ago. You know what I mean? He says it now, it's fine. We didn't say, well, we're gonna burn them down like the fires. You know what I mean? We didn't say, welcome in here. We're gonna light it. We're gonna light a match and let's go. Like,
we said the Rams are on fire. Said that a couple times.
Did we?
Yeah, I did. Maybe not you. I'm about to put words in your mouth.
Well, felt like you did. Felt like you did. You felt like you were telling me that I was, you know. All right, listen, prayers go out to everybody affected there too, for sure. You know what I mean? All jokes aside, we have a good time on here, but we're really not trying to get canceled, and we do care about the people. You know, we do. What spells? The way that Houston gets you.
I'll tell you what, if there's a version that's going to get you, that's the one.
She's the one. Voice of an angel. Love Whitney. I mean, you talk about hitting a note. We're going to go here tonight. All right. Players in the game, I want one offense and defense, right? But you need to then decide who the MVP of the game is. So I'm going to go a little different. I think I said last week, Jalen, right? I did. I said he needed to win this game, but I'm going to leave that for somebody else. All right. Because I do think he has a monster game. I do. But I'll leave it for somebody else to pick. I'm going Devontae Smith. I'm going Devontae Smith. He's going to have a $150 in the air and 2 tutties. Devontae Smith, MVP. He's a big game player. There ain't many we're loaded with big game players, but because you know you're going to want to try to slow AJ Brown down. We know how that works, as they should. He's a specimen. So I think Devontae eats. Their second corner is nowhere near as good as their first one. That's an easy target to go after, in my opinion. I think the Eagles will.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he score a game-winning touchdown to win the national championship for Alabama at the Superdome?
That is correct.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
He's also from New Orleans, by the way.
That is correct, too.
We got our facts.
Yeah, I felt good about that pick. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Look, a lot of dots connected until he goes for like 14 yards and, you know, like 3 targets.
and he dropped a tutty against Washington. So
who's your was it Washington or was it? No,
they did.
I thought it was the Rams game. Am I wrong?
It might have been both, but absolutely dropped a touchdown against Washington.
Can I see that? Can I see that tape?
And I promise it was a corner route at the end zone.
No, this isn't.
Oh no, they drew the pass interference on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was in his hands.
All right, there's a flag.
Right.
Throw off. I mean, there's a flag. There's a flag thrown.
I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you out.
You were talking about dry passes. That doesn't help me out at all. That makes it worse.
Listen, you run it back. That pass interference was weak. It was in his hands.
That makes it worse.
Listen, you run it back. That pass interference was weak. It was in his hands.
Are you going
Right.
defense? Are you throwing your defensive player of the game out here too?
Do you want me to double dip, or you want to circle jerk
double
it back?
dip it?
Yeah, let's double dip.
Nobody got that one. Nobody.
I'm down to circle jerk anytime.
Yeah,
we could triple dick if you want.
Love a three-peat. Not on
That's
Sunday,
a
though.
reference that you guys don't get.
Yeah,
I guess that's only me and you, Tom. Jeez, is it that long ago the triple dick happened that these guys don't get it?
Yeah, it's amazing. We're going to have to show them that. We're going to have to find that and send it in the group for these guys to hear that one. That was a great one.
I have the clip somewhere.
Man, it's tough because you can pick so many guys. I'm just trying to think of the matchups. Give me Nolan Smith. Two sacks, and a forced fumble.
I do like that pick. I'm going to leave Jalen Carter there because I know somebody else is going to pick him. Even though I do think he's probably going to be the biggest factor defensively, I'm going to go a different route here. Martian, that's go. Yeah, I'll tell him the story after. I'm gonna sit here. I think the key, and it's been the key. I think he's been the glue to this defense, and it's shown when they've struggled. I think it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think he is going to solidify because they do a lot over the middle of the field. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to be a really big key here, and we're going to need him to be able to help him and obviously the linebackers. But I think him up top at safety is going to be a huge, huge factor in this game to minimizing the damage by their offense. So I'm going to go C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the defensive side. On the offensive side, I'm going to leave Jalen there. I'm going to leave Saquon there as well because I know you guys are going to go through. Although I think if the Eagles win, it's going to be Jalen who gets the MVP. But my key player, it's going to be Dallas Goedert. This team has struggled against tight ends this year. They are 30th in the league against opposing tight ends. And because there's such a focus on Saquon Barkley and then A.J. Brown, and then you have to worry about Devontae Smith. He's the forgotten man who may have the most impressive touchdown of the entire season this year with a triple stiff arm. He has come on late down the stretch of the season and in these playoff games.
Oh, Dallas, yeah.
I expect nothing less because guess what? When he's a factor in a game, he can be just as important as Travis Kelce has been. And I could make an argument right now with how Kelce's kind of on the downside that he's on this. I'm not going to say he's better than him, but he's on the same level right now, in my opinion. Because look at the games where he has really
top five. He's the top 5 tight end in football when he's on the
100%.
field. It's not even a question.
I think you get a big game from Dallas.
He blocks at an elite level too. You know, which you got to factor in. So does Travis, right? But
100%.
Dallas, like George Kittle is a 2-way tight end.
Yep.
Right. Dallas Goedert's a 2-way tight end.
Listen, I'll tell
Travis is like the guy.
I'm doing a couple parlays, and one of my parlays, I'm hammering hard on all the overs on Dallas Goedert.
I like it.
And to add the last thing on that, he has his signature touchdown, but I feel like to solidify because of the injury history he has had here where he's kind of been in and out, I feel like he needs that signature impression on the organization to really lock up how successful his tenure has been here. I think this is a moment for him to get that game, that moment where you're like, okay, like we went from Ertz to him, and he has been a huge contributor to the next generation.
Yeah, I think Jalen's going to make a big-time drive at the end of the game that kind of seals it to win it. So I think he's going to have a big game. I got to go with Saquon. I mean, I've been rooting for him since 2016 all the way at Penn State. So the fact that he's doing this right now and has a chance to win the Eagles a Super Bowl is like one of the cooler things I've ever experienced. Definitely going to go with him. And all these people talk about, how well coached the Chiefs are in Spags and how they're going to stack the box, acting like 31 other teams don't, or like every team in the league has tried to stack the box and it hasn't worked. So every week it's like, oh, well, what if they make him pass it? And it's never worked. He always breaks one. So to me, if he gets $150, I think that's probably, and a touchdown, it's probably good enough for him to win the MVP. Just the way the storylines are and the way they vote for things. I think he will win the MVP. Defensively, we talked about it last week. It's not turning over Patrick Mahomes. It's turning over the Kansas City Chiefs. You said stuff's in the middle. I'd see a lot of forced fumbles just like last week. That's the way you turn them over. Travis Kelce coughed one up last year against them when we played them too. I think Cooper DeJean in the middle of the field, he poked one out last week, didn't get the credit for it. It went to Bond for some reason. I think birthday boys, DeJean, Saquon, players of the day, Saquon MVP.
Love it.
Yeah, you took my birthday boys. I was going to say the Cooper DeJean. He has 0 career interceptions. And I get an interception on Mahomes is hard to do, but storybook, I could see him getting one in the Super Bowl on his birthday, first career interception. I could totally see DeJean doing that. But I'll switch it up since you picked him. I'm going to say Brandon Graham. And the reason being is even if he plays 10 snaps, does he take a back seat and let Nolan Smith just be a dog? Like, I hope he doesn't get in the way, and I don't think he will. I think he knows whether he's going to be full go or not, if that makes sense. And I think he knows, like, okay, I can impact this game, or, oh, this is not my night. Let Nolan Smith eat, and I'm just going to help out vocally or whatever I can do. So I think that's going to have a big impact. And then offensively, you really could pick anybody here. I'm going to say, I'll just go Hurts. Just don't turn the ball over. It's really it. You don't turn the ball over, you win. I kind of hope he throws for 80 yards and we win, just so we can just shut everyone up. It'd be so funny. 80 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 5 tush pushes.
That would be hilarious.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go with AJ as my offensive guy. It could really be anybody. I think Jalen's gonna have a good game. I think Saquon's gonna have a good game. I think Devontae's gonna have a good game. The Chiefs love playing press man coverage, and AJ absolutely eats against man coverage. So if they, if we're gonna focus on getting the ball out of Jalen's hands pretty quickly, that 5-yard slant to AJ, he might have 7 of those. He might have 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, on like 8-9 catches. All he takes for him to break one. But yeah, I think if they're gonna press him, he's gonna have a good game. Then defensively, I think they're gonna try to double Jalen Carter. I think that obviously he's probably your best defensive player overall. But I think that it's gonna mean that the outside guys are gonna eat. So Nolan Smith's already said. So I think Josh Sweat could have 2-3 sacks in this game because their tackles have been awful this year.
Yeah.
So if Jalen Carter's like drawing double teams and then you have Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat coming in from the outside, I could see both of those guys eating. But I'm going to go with Josh Sweat.
I like it.
Well, I wonder what a Jalen Carter anytime touchdown would pay you. Just saying. Give me Jalen Carter, strip sack, and returns it to the house.
For 7 of the 48 points were scored.
Just for fun. Just a nice old exclamation point to Kansas City's night. To put them to bed. Put the entire Midwest to bed. And some of the KC fans around our area who are complete frauds, but whatever. I'm going Jalen Carter, my defensive player of the game. I think he has a strip sack and returns it for 6. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm going to go with it anyway because I think it's going to happen. And offensively, I think I got to go Barkley. I mean, I think a lot of guys are going to have a big night, obviously, if I think we're going to win by 4 touchdowns. But, Jalen's going to throw for a little more than 80 yards. And, he may find the end zone a couple times himself via the tush push. But I think it's Saquon's night. It's been Saquon's season, and I can't think of anything better for that young man than to cap off the season. And, hey, Joe Shane, how do you like that?
I want to throw this in real quick, Mikey, because I think this is an interesting. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes and superhero Mahomes. But if you look at his Super Bowl numbers, he is very pedestrian. In 4 Super Bowls, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And the last time he played a defense, and I think Tom mentioned this earlier, but I want to reiterate this because I'm looking at the numbers right now. Last time he played a defense that was even close to as physical as this team was the Tampa Bay defense. He had a 52.3 QBR in that game. No touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, sacked 3 times.
I'm with you. The only thing I'll say about that is it's a little bit inflated because they had the injury to the tackle, so it was a major loss for them.
I understand.
I get what you're saying. I'm with you though.
But that team they had then, though, was much better than this team is right now.
Right.
And again, Patrick Mahomes he's been. His QBR is an average of 85.2, which is good, but it's not astronomical. That's 4 Super Bowl games. So the idea, he was great in the Super Bowl against us. But Jalen was great too, right? So he's been the one guy who outplayed him in his best Super Bowl performance is the guy he's going against this Sunday. And I'm not saying Jalen's going to repeat and throw for whatever, it's 300 yards or whatever he did in that game. But Jalen knows what it's like to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and play at a high level if he needs to. So I think there's a lot of little things there to take into account.
I just wanted to throw this in there because I saw it and I almost forgot about it. So the tush push, obviously a big factor to our success and the offense. The chief safety, I can't even say his name, Nazia Johnson, said that Josh Allen has a tendency to run his QB sneaks to the left side and that Casey's defense completely sold out in order to stop it to the left side. Now, obviously, the tush push has been unstoppable. I think we got stopped once in that Commanders game out of 8 times. But it has always been to the left, and that's because the left side, that's where the big guys are. So I would like to see just one time go to the right, keep them on the heels, but it might not even matter. That's just a little
it's not going to matter.
Minute detail. It probably doesn't even matter, but I'm just saying every time Hurts goes left.
Well, the reason that theirs didn't work.
It didn't push.
Yeah, and I was just it's a very unorganized play. Ours there's a reason we do it better than anyone else.
Well, they do different.
Him. It was basically just hey, Josh, find a yard, make a play.
Yeah, and they do different iterations of it as well, right? The Eagles do different iterations of it. Sometimes it's like a trick play. They come out of it. And the thing is, too, if I'm doing that, maybe I go 1 or 2 right away to the left side, let them start selling out. And that's where I start pulling the ball and going to Saquon or pulling the ball and tucking it and throwing it to Dallas over in the corner on a slant route. The Eagles have so many different looks of it, and we've seen them that again, it's different when with a team like them. I don't think that the Eagles necessarily have to go to that left side every time either. So
yeah, I just thought it was interesting that he pointed that out.
That's a very fascinating stat. Yeah, it's good to know that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I also saw on the 5 games we played on artificial turf, we're 5-0, and our defense is allowed 11 points per game. It's just all speed, rallying on the football, and violence. That's the thing. People talk about turnovers. It's violence all over the field. It's violence. Yeah. Whoever's got the ball on special teams. We saw. When's the last time a team has turned on special teams, turned the ball over twice in a playoff run? We have 2 special teams turnover. It's violence all over the field.
You know what?
I'm still waiting on my house call.
I don't think
you're waiting a long time. Yeah.
I did see Covey might be back though, so maybe.
Oh, we're saved.
Yeah.
Here we go.
58
Best
this week.
fair
Now
catch
bring
guy of
Tubby's
all
back.
time.
Oh,
We're back.
Girl job.
oh boy.
No, Kadarius
He's gonna
Toney.
return a kickoff.
That was the play that, like, obviously we don't, but the casuals forget was the Kadarius Toney
Right.
return. It didn't go
Yeah.
for 6, but it went down to the 10-yard line, I think. It was a big ass return. So, I mean,
Hey.
stupid habit, but
Hey, Rob, you look cute tonight. Let me tell you something. You lost the bet, babe. Right? You lost the bet. I guess you forgot that. How's the bet still on when you already lost it? The bet was.
What bet is this?
It was
I
getting.
remember this.
It was winning.
Oh God.
Sounds like indecent proproposal over here. What the fuck are we talking
No,
about?
well, I was so confident that we were going to a Super Bowl that I told Rob if we didn't, he could sleep in my bed with my wife. That's how confident I was. Here we
I
are.
remember that.
So the bet
What
you lost, Rob, and you didn't even give me nothing back. Like I was giving you the
Double or
world.
nothing.
I was giving you rope. Now, when you were done, I was probably taking you out. But at the end of the day, you'd be in a river somewhere. All right. But what you gave me nothing back. That's how confident I've been all since week freaking 5 and on with this goddamn football team. That's how confident I've been. This is where we belong. This is where we belong. This didn't just start. This was, hey, Tom, Noah, Crow, Luke, and all, right? We were on all here early on in August. It wasn't all of a sudden that we just thought we were good and great. Like like I can speak for myself. I expected this. I was saying this, and I'm not special. I get it wrong plenty of times. But we felt this. Luke, you nailed it. It's the physicality. Luke don't know nothing about, Rob don't know nothing about physicality. We can tell that. But it's physicality and rallying to the football stuff we never did here. We never did here. And it's nice to see because you remember early on, right, Crum? We weren't taking the ball away a lot. So we were just getting off the field. We were tackling well, right? We were keeping in front of the chains and we were getting off the field on third down. That was our MO, right? And our red zone defense was awesome. And then we started taking the ball away.
Now he's saying double or nothing.
Let me clear up.
What you out of your mind?
What the hell? I think you have a stalker, dude.
No, Rob needs to take a step back from the camera, like I like to say to people, and square your life up. If there's double or not coming. Square it up, baby.
Super, super weird.
Very weird.
Let me clear this up for Martian real quick.
Where's Marsh?
The triple dick comment came during a fantasy football draft where I was saying to somebody who was drafting, are you going to – I got stuck between the words of are you going to triple pick or triple dip because they kept picking the same position and it came out triple dick. And hilarity ensued. There's a clip of it. You can find it somewhere on A2D Radio. If you go in, I think it's like in one of the best of years or something. You can see the clip, but that's how that came about. I got stuck between the words dip and pick, and I went with the triple dick.
Yep, it happens. Happens to the
It
best of us.
does. It does happen.
Hey, Mr. Ingold was a middle school wrestler because we give a shit. Anyway. What the fuck is going on here? Go to bed, dude. Go
I'll have you in a splattle. What?
Hey,
Oh boy.
This guy.
grab a beer, go to bed, and leave us the fuck alone.
I would recommend a guy like that not drinking, but that's just me. I'd recommend a cat like that probably don't sip on nothing. You probably end up in jail.
We might already be down that road at this point.
I mean, he would absolutely. Okay, we're out there. Slayer, appreciate you, brother. He said, and they should do a couple of hard counts on the tush push. Also, I never understood why in big spots teams don't hard count, especially versus Spags. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do they not? I mean, Allen tried rushing it, but we don't necessarily rush it.
Sometimes they don't really line guys up at the line. It's kind of like disguised blitz. I don't really know if a hard count would do much, to be honest.
Yeah, no. Spags picks his shots. He blitzes like 2-3 times a game.
I wonder if he blitzes us more this week. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that's their only chance is to force Jalen into making bad choices and sacking him, costing us points. That's like the one negative Jalen's shown this run, taking the sacks.
Well, I'll tell you what, at least against Washington, I thought overall Jalen did a nice job of getting rid of the ball. You know, finding the open man quickly and letting it rip when he needed to.
Mhm.
And I think we'll be all right there. And honestly, I think Saquon, I think he'll be key in some blitz pickup as well. And
Brandon Ingram's got traded to the Raptors too, in case anyone cares.
For what?
Don't know
no,
yet.
I appreciate you sharing the knowledge.
Yeah, well, on that note, before we get out of here, or is anything happening? You think anything more in Sixers land before Thursday?
Well, I think it
Butler
should
went
be
to Golden
exposed. Yeah, it should be exposed that it's sad what they just did. It's unless they pull off a move tomorrow and shock me, it's embarrassing what they just did. Because the last 3 trade deadlines, they've done the same thing, which is make sure you either get guys who are on an expiring deal, or we're going to make sure that we just get under the luxury tax, like a George Hill move or a Jaden McDaniels move, or a move like today where you're giving up assets just so you can get under the luxury tax. And people are giving out like lazy takes that it helps them in the offseason. It doesn't, because KJ's contract was non-guaranteed. So they could have cut him and that would have been it. But they paid assets just to get rid of him, just so Josh Harris doesn't have to pay the luxury tax. And it just kind of goes back to my point of last year.
I thought they got picks back.
No, they traded picks to get rid of him. They got 1 pick back in the Caleb deal. But then they traded 2 picks to get rid of KJ. We didn't get anything back.
I didn't think they
Yeah,
traded.
you traded away.
They traded away 2 second-round picks with KJ to get nothing back, just to get under the luxury tax.
What a loser move.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the last. We said this last year, and I said it before we went to the blank canvas thing. Is trade for guys that you can develop something with, and say, okay, maybe he's on a 3-year deal. I'll eat that. Maybe it'll work out. Who the hell knows? But then they do it last year with Buddy Hield and Campaign, and now it's just like they always just want to reset the dock and go into a new offseason and make new moves and restock. Where at the trade deadline, it's just be like, all right, we have a hole. Let's fill the hole. Or, all right, maybe we're losing a shit ton of games. Let's sell our team. And they just play it so like they're scared to make a move. They're scared to sell. They're scared to buy. They're just like, let's play it safe just so I don't have to pay more money. Let's get the hell out of here with this team. Because, I mean, we're not idiots. This team is not good enough as constructed as long as they don't make another trade to make any kind of run, because they're gonna be a lower seed. So it's not talking about making a run. You're gonna play Boston. You're gonna play Cleveland. You're gonna play New York. You're not good enough to beat them.
I think Yabusele is gonna get traded by tomorrow.
Well, that would make what happened yesterday even worse.
Make no sense. Yeah, you traded 2 power forwards.
Yeah, that would make
you wouldn't trade a third.
I don't see.
They made the move yesterday so they can. They made the move yesterday so they can bring him back.
Well, no, that's not even true. That's not even true, because his contract is non-guaranteed after this year.
Not KJ.
So that's
Caleb.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. I think that he's more likely to stay than trade him tomorrow.
That's why they got rid of Caleb.
That's why they got rid of
that
Caleb.
money. So they can use that money to essentially pay Yabu because they couldn't. So
and they're going to keep. Yeah, that move was fine. And you're also going to keep a 24-year-old who they have rights to keep this summer. Like, that makes sense. I'm fine with the trade. It sucks to see Caleb go because it sucks to see him go. Yeah.
I like him. And thanks to Boston. I think he's a really good perimeter defender. Yeah, he'll make big shots for you. I really like him. I wish he was healthy. But I'm okay with it getting younger there. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm okay getting younger, getting a pick back, and then knowing that Yabu's been such a good piece, even though we're not winning a lot of games. But you can see he's talented, and I like the way he plays. So I'm happy to be able to like bring him back here.
And the Sixers should also be very happy with this whole trade market. Jimmy Butler demanded a trade and was about just over under 24 hours from just being stuck there They got assets back. Anthony Davis just got traded for Luka Doncic. So when people question the market for Embiid, trust me, there's most definitely a market out there, like without a doubt, if that time does come.
Dude, he just came back and just put this triple double.
Yeah, I mean there is a market for him.
Kev
One thousand
not
percent.
playing
It's the
for
saddest thing in NBA history. It's the saddest thing. That's good. That's how good he is. It's so sad.
Is there a world where you guys could see a deal tomorrow that involves a Paul George for Kevin Durant swap?
No, just because they don't
I would
take on
be
that
ecstatic.
contract. They would have to
that would
find
be-
a third team to kind of route Paul George.
But
and then
but the thing is, like in the NBA now, finding a third team is like nothing. Like everybody finds a third team.
they do for smaller, like the Wiggins contract per se is smaller. But
So,
when
like,
you're taking on 3 years, what would it be? 3 years, 170 that Paul George would have left after this year.
Only
like,
2 years is guaranteed though.
Right, it's a lot. It's a lot for a team to do.
So like I'm just thinking like because they were talking the other day too about like with the Luka deal, right? Like people were like, oh, there was the rumor which was debunked that the Jazz had no idea that the deal they were getting involved in involves Luka
Right.
and
Yeah.
right.
Danny Ainge a loser.
And they said that's not true. And honestly, they said there was 6 other teams they could have went to, like because it's so easy to find a third team because everybody's trying.
Yeah, but not when the third team is taking on the big contract. Like that third team was just like, hey, can you eat?
Yeah, but you
$3
don't think
million?
there's another team out there who thinks that he could help them in a playoff push? I do.
Not, I don't know, because then you don't have to.
I
They
have
would have to
seen
give up
worse.
so much. They would have to give up so much just to match salary in return. Like I just don't. I don't see.
I mean, you throw in a guy like say like an Eric Gordon who's got a little bit of money. I mean,
No,
there's
I'm
guys-
saying the third team that would be taking on Paul George would have to want to feel good enough to give up enough to even match the salary to take him on. So I don't think that there's a team that's like, hey, we're a Paul George away that also has like a $40 million salary dangling around. That's why his contract sucks, and they're gonna have to eat it for at least another 2 years.
Let me see here.
Yeah, at first I was happy with the Quentin Grimes move because I kept preaching we need a second ball handler that's not 40 years old, like not named Kyle Lowry. Because of Maxey late in games, it's brutal that he's the only ball handler on the floor.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind that move. And Caleb Martin, if we keep Yabu, hopefully we do. Like love Caleb Martin, but Yabu's just playing so well, and Martin really hasn't been on the floor, so that's frustrating. He couldn't stay healthy. But yeah, I agree with you. If they do nothing but stay under the luxury tax, that's what's going to be just a slap in the face of the fan base. Because you're right. Last year they got Payne and Healed. They didn't really do anything. This year they're not doing much. But trading, we knew KJ Martin was getting traded this whole time. We've been talking about it for months. We all have. Like
He doesn't
me,
play
you,
either.
Greg, Tom. Yeah, KJ
Right,
Martin.
but it was either we thought all along, we were right for thinking that way. It was, look, he's making $7 million. You got to match money in the NBA. You're going to either get a player back or a contender is going to say, here's some draft capital. We gave up capital just to get rid of the guy.
Just get rid of him.
When
Yeah,
we gave
that's
him
what I was
this
going to say.
we gave him the contract. Like this was such a failure that like I don't think it's.
I'm
highlighted
okay
enough.
with that.
It's embarrassing.
I'm okay. Well, I'm okay with it if you go get somebody else.
Yeah, but they did.
Yeah,
they
it doesn't
did.
play in return.
Well, it's not
we
over,
did, and we
right?
gave up
It's not over.
capital. Well, yeah,
Well,
that's what
it's
that's
looking
what
pretty
that's what I was
over.
gonna finish with.
They don't have that many guys to trade unless they're gonna. I don't see him trading Kelly Oubre tomorrow.
This
I
is
think
who are
what I
they
was gonna.
trading?
I
This
think
is-
they can
this is
move.
what
I think they can move Paul George. I truly do.
This is what I was going
I
to
think
finish
the
with.
team
I
to
don't
do
think
it to is Golden State. That was it because they had the Wiggins contract that made a ton of sense. They had young guys and they were desperate to get someone in there.
Somebody else out there.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't
I don't think
see
he
it.
would have
I-
played tonight. He wouldn't have played tonight.
Nobody's seen AD and Luka. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
and
hard
that's-
to debate
that's-
that.
You play tonight. You
You're right.
play tonight because you haven't played. So, like the same thing, like you're giving up assets because KJ Martin doesn't play. He's been hurt the whole time, so you got to give up something. I'm not.
No,
like
they've
that.
been working for a trade for him that whole. I don't even think he
No,
was
no.
hurt. I think they
I
were
don't-
literally just searching for a trade.
Either way. My point is he wasn't playing, so it's hard to trade a guy who's not playing. So I don't agree with the deal. I wouldn't be giving up assets, but my point is, Like, there's always a market for somebody. There's always a market for a player. And if the right team's out there, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but if the right team's out there, like, why couldn't he get traded?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, we literally talked about KJ Martin and getting something back, and Luke hammered it. Like, we gave up capital, and we're the one who gave KJ Martin that contract. So complete failure, unless something comes tomorrow. So it's not out of the question.
Well,
but
that's the question.
Moving
The
Paul
question
George,
isn't-
but moving Paul George is going to be difficult because Luke's totally right. Golden State was the suitor. I don't think there's anybody else out there that's even interested in the guy. I mean, you're not going to want to take on. He's won nothing in his career. He costs way too much money. The contract's egregious, and he's barely played this year.
Yeah, and when he has, he's looked horrible.
Exactly. And also, I think who we trade tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised at Drummond and Eric Gordon. Like, I think those are the two that go. Drummond and Eric Gordon.
Those are minimum guys. So anyone you'd be getting back realistically
is
not worth talking about at all. So that's what I'm saying. Unless they trade Kelly Oubre tomorrow, which I don't see them doing that. I don't want them to do that.
No.
Then this is what they'll do. And they went into this with they were $17.5 million over the tax.
I agree with this.
And so all they had to do was trade two guys making $7 million to get below it, and that's what they did. So I'd be shocked if they make another trade.
Let me ask you a question. Who do the Lakers have on their roster to pull that off?
Oh, that would never happen. They're trading for a center.
Can you have some
three guys in the same
I don't think
position?
it's possible. Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
Can you just go with
I don't think it's possible because they only have two guys making 40 plus. Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
All right.
Even if it was possible, you're gonna have Doncic, LeBron, and George. They play the same position.
We're just having a conversation. All right.
I don't think it's possible unless they trade LeBron, which that ain't happening.
So
listen, KD, I would be ecstatic. I don't know how you get it done. But Durant would be awesome. Like, that would be like that would be like the last dance. Like, that's now or nothing. Like, you're putting all the chips on the table because he's not getting any younger.
I did think the Lakers as a landing spot for Drummond, though, because I don't think there's not a lot of big men out there, and I think that he's good enough on a nightly basis that he could start for that team just because they have no size on that team at all.
Yeah, we're gonna get like Cam Reddish and Gabe Vincent tomorrow. That's all we're getting.
I'd be shocked if we made a move tomorrow. There's no chance.
I think something's coming. I think it'll be very underwhelming, but I think that's a great point, Kerm. I think Drummond to the Lakers would have, because he's been there before, right?
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, he was there. So yeah, I could totally see that. And we get like Cam Reddish, Yippee.
Well, how about a team here? I'm just looking for, I'm searching a little bit. How about?
I want Paul George gone. Do some searching.
The playoffs, or what are we searching?
We're talking about it. So we're talking about a team that they're in the middle of the pack, a little bit under the middle of the pack, and they probably should be a little bit better. And that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right. So how can we pull this off?
Julius Randle, but I'm
exactly.
Good.
I'm in.
Thank you.
I'm in. I don't care.
You're in.
You know why?
I would do it just for the money purposes.
I'm in because he plays. Well, he's out right now, right? But he I think he's just a better player at this point in his career than Paul George, and that's not like saying a lot.
You could also just get rid of the money way easier too. I would be open to doing that.
I'm in.
I'd be open for it.
Boys, I'm out.
We're coming soon too, Chrome.
Yeah, Chrome.
Later, brother.
Good conversation. Hopefully next week is a really great conversation. But go Birds. Let's go get this dub.
Yeah, go Birds. I'm out as well, fellas. Have a good one.
Later,
be careful on the ice tomorrow.
You too, babe. All right. You too, and listen, enjoy the roll, Jack.
Careful night.
Let's go.
Absolutely. 38-10. Let's go.
Giddy up. If you're just joining us here, we obviously opened with Eagles and talked about them for a long time, but now we're talking some Sixers.
As soon as Sixers come up, it's me, Tom, and Luke left. And they're like, all right, say it.
Hey guys, we're just gonna, because we're just degenerates and we just like want to go deep. But like, I'm in for a Julius Randle, right? To get rid of the money. That's just an option. They might think they're getting better that way. You just look for a team. I mean, they traded 1,000 picks for Rudy Gobert. So, they're morons. So
That's what's crazy about these trades. Like Bridges, Gobert, they got like 4 or 5 first-round picks for Bridges and Gobert.
Right.
And
That's why people are worried about Embiid getting a market. He would get
look at
so
Luka.
much shit back for him. Yeah.
What was Luka? 1 first-round pick?
Well, that guy's a moron. That guy's just it's because he wanted Anthony Davis. He wanted Anthony Davis.
You know where I try to send? I send Embiid to. You know what I'll try to? Like, you just
back to Cameroon.
Okay. Okay, see?
Nope. That's a good option, though. But
no. Think about it.
Think about it. They're not in even a
Golden State.
No, they're not even in a playing game. They're not even in a playing game.
Not even in a playing game. East or West?
San Antonio?
West.
They're in a playing
game. That would be something. That would be fun.
Wemby and Embiid. I have no idea.
New Orleans?
You got some of the Mavs with AD?
Nope. It's a team. I'm sending them nowhere, but
Utah?
You're gonna banish him to Portland?
Yeah, I'd take Lauri Markkanen in a heartbeat.
Portland.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna banish Embiid to Portland? That's just wrong.
I want Simons, obviously. Whatever money matches, and I want 3 unprotected first-round picks starting this year.
I don't see them doing that.
Probably not.
They're not doing that. They're not doing that.
Probably not.
Because they're in no room to win now.
Yeah.
So, why would they do it? Because
it's a sell, right? I was looking the opposite way. Instead of looking for the easy contender, right? That Oklahoma City, why would you want to mess that up when you have 8 losses or 9 losses, right? So I was more looking for the team that can still fight for a playing game because they can still fight for one and sort of sell their fan base a little bit on it. I'm really reaching, obviously, just to have some fun. And I like Simons.
I would trade him to Atlanta. They have a ton of guys that are young on good contracts that are just good players. They're not great, but they're just good. And you can build around them. They'd be great with Maxey. DeAndre Hunter would be awesome. I think Atlanta would be cool. And he could team up with Trae Young and they could pretend like they might win something. So
as somebody who was at 2 games in that Sixers-Hawks series, that makes me want to throw up.
Oh, that's tough.
The Bulls are selling, but there's really not much left to buy.
No, but I would like to take a lot of things off Portland's hands, though. You know what I mean? What do you? They're sort of what is their deal with Scoot? I'll take him too. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Give me both of them. I might not even want the picks.
Even to match salaries,
45 guards.
How many guys they got to send us here? Jeremy Grant's got to be in that.
Yeah, I'll bring him back.
That's a horrible contract. That might be worse than Paul George.
I don't want Jeremy Grant. I don't want DeAndre Ayton.
I'll take Ayton off their hands just to eat the money.
Yeah,
it's better than the
if you're getting me Simons,
right? Those are 3 guys you're paying. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And Embiid's making what? Fucking 50, 60 million?
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
But I would because they could still feel like they could whatever. But I would take that. I would take the money off their hands there because I got to realize that I'm putting them around Maxey. Right, so I'm putting them around Maxey. So I'm trying to get other ball handlers, and
he's like 26.
Wow, dude,
he just looks like he's 50.
Pelicans.
He's like
Pelicans got fleeced.
I feel like he's been in the league forever.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
Bruce Brown
deal?
Yeah, Bruce Brown. Are you kidding?
What was the deal,
bro? Bruce Brown is a Kardashian. That guy gets passed around.
I didn't get any alerts on it.
What is the obsession with Bruce Brown?
This? I'm looking for Shams. What are we looking at?
Underdog.
Bruce Haynes,
yeah.
Oh, Bruce Haynes in the house.
Yeah, but Bruce Brown every single year, every single month is in trade talk. Like, what is the obsession with Bruce Brown? Is it like a good contract to bounce around? I
Yeah,
don't get it.
that's exactly what it is. Someone gave him a shit ton of money and they just bounced him around. That's what I thought KJ was gonna be. I was like,
Yeah,
all
like,
right,
it's
like
crazy.
good for him. You'll make a ton of money and you'll just get traded like 3 times. And there we go. Martian, I saw that, dude. I saw that. Bob Myers to Philly leading the Sixers. I don't know. At this point, why the hell not? It worked for the Commanders.
Yeah, no, this Embiid makes it so impossible because it's like, what do? Do you start over? And then when Embiid plays, it's like, oh, we could win now. Like he suckers you into it every time until he plays 5 games in a row and he's ready to fall over. Let alone 2 games in a row.
No, you're so spot on with it too. But I mean,
because you're stuck. Because like really think about it, you could win now. If Embiid plays like he did last night, you could win right now.
Absolutely.
But it'll never happen because he can't even play 2 games in a row.
Well, we know what's real here. You guys know. You guys get it now, right? You get it.
You're saying build around Maxey?
No. Well, that's a given.
Well,
I just don't want him to. Speaking of Dame, I just don't want him to end up like Dame in Portland.
He's not.
That's what I see it happening.
Let's not do that. We're I mean, it's not. We don't live with rain every day like in Portland. Nobody wants to go there. So let's not even compare ourselves to that franchise.
Yeah, that was a little bit harder.
But the thing is, like, I don't think he's hurt. I believe he's not hurt. I believe they're doing it on purpose. And you're going to see it in the next, like, 2 weeks that he's going to start playing every night. Because they're just waiting as long as they can.
But that's why it pisses me off. Then what's the point? What's the point of you doing all this shit and giving up future assets for you just to be like, all right, the hell to this year. But we're going to trot out this guy who all we have is him and his potential trade value. We're willing to risk his injury. Just shut him down then. If they went to the fan base and said, look, this blew up in front of our faces, it didn't work out, at least I consider him like, all right, like you're right. Let's blow this up. And you sit him for the year. You reevaluate in the offseason. Maybe you trade him. And if not, you just retool with the guys you have and see if it works next year. They're like so half out. We'll make this trade. We'll get younger, but we're not going to take on any money. It's just like they don't know what they're doing. They're a team without a plan. It's just annoying to watch every year.
Yeah. No, I agree. And
actually, you brought up Atlanta real quick. So someone brought up Atlanta. That I could see for Paul George.
Yeah, I saw that as Paul George. Yeah, him or Embiid, I would like that.
Yeah, I would like it more for George, just in the sense that like you get the false hope and okay, we could still win if Embiid's here.
Yeah.
Just because you trade George there for a couple assets, like we talked about, like DeAndre Hunter. I don't know what Dyson Daniels' contract is, but like that would be good. Get some role players from Atlanta. That's the only place I could see Paul George going, honestly. And they have false hope because they got Trae Young.
You'd probably have to take on like a Bogdanovich, which I'm cool with, and Hunter. And
I'd take Capella. I really would.
Yeah, I think he might be a free agent. So then you might have to take on like a bad contract in Bogdanovich and then DeAndre Hunter and one other player. I would do that. I would drive him there.
Yeah, don't be surprised. If that happens tomorrow, I'd be pumped up, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be shocked beyond belief. I'd be back though. We'd be back. See, if they did something like that and Embiid played the rest of the year, all right, that's cool. I could pretend like we have something.
Yeah, I can't doubt Morey yet. Like last year's trade deadline was absolutely weak, and you're dead right. But I feel like every offseason or every time you need something, you get something done. And it's just
not in the deadline, though. Not in the deadline. And I don't really think that that's his fault. I think that's an ownership thing.
I agree.
Of him not wanting to pay guys and commit to certain people and whatever. I don't really put that on him. It's been like that forever.
And some of the young guys, like KJ Edwards, has played well. So I think that also like makes them think they can, move on from guys that would sort of take those minutes in a way too. So they are trying to get like younger, but you're right. You're right, Buckets. He's good. He's a good off-season guy. filling needs, but when it comes to the deadline, he hasn't pulled the trigger. And I agree with Luke. Like, I just think it's because he's probably hamstrung by ownership. But I mean,
it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's what it is. It's all because of Embiid.
And we can make a case that Dallas made the worst move in NBA history.
Yeah.
But then you can also make the case that if AD is healthy, Dallas can go to a Western Conference final again. So, and they have the chance to win over the next two years, right? Like they could be good enough if those two guys play together to really be good. But how do you go deal a guy who's 25 years old, who's the top 5 player in the league? You know what I mean? Like it's
the most absurd quote that came from that press conference was when Kid was sitting right next to him and he was bragging about how aligned they are and our thoughts are aligned. I keep Jason in all my thoughts and what I do. And then he went on to say, well, he didn't know about the trade until afterward. So your thoughts are so aligned that you didn't think to tell your head coach that the cornerstone of your franchise was about to get traded. I mean, it's just like a joke over there.
You could sort of.
And then he said, "We'd rather walk into the playoffs with Luka than Anthony Davis. Like Luka just didn't hit 3 unbelievable shots that gave him a remote chance of coming even close to the finals. Like it's."
No, I think the funniest part of that trade was just that they didn't even talk to anybody other than the Lakers. Like,
right? Yeah.
Imagine if Morey gets in on that deal. We could have given him Maxey. Like you give him
Embiid.
You give him Embiid, you give him, whatever they want. And you get 25-year-old Luka Doncic who just went to a finals in a market that actually gives a shit. Like, I don't know, dude. It's absolutely absurd. It's like it's almost like it's some David Stern shit in the NBA where like they're trying to just like do some backroom deal to get Luka in LA because they know LeBron's gonna retire in a year or two. And now you got this guy who's a top 5 player in the league. He's got 5 all pros. He's like we said, he's 25 years old. It's insane. It's absolute malpractice.
You're spot on because the NBA ratings are down, right? So when you talk about their ratings being down, like how can they bring their ratings up, right? Now, okay, you go team Luka with LeBron, that's going to skyrocket your ratings, and not only in the U.S., but that skyrocketed their ratings where they want it to skyrocket, which is overseas, right? So this is absolutely a backdoor deal. Pelinka and what's the loser's face?
Nico.
They're friends. They've worked together at Nike. This is unbelievable. You said malpractice. Yep. Somebody said there should be lawsuits filed over this shit, right? And I don't want to take away what Dallas brought in here. That's the sad thing for AD. AD is a first-team all-defensive player. I mean, when he's healthy, AD is a first-team all-NBA guy when he's healthy. So I don't want to take away how good AD is too, right? But he's not Luka, and he's not 25 years old. AD at 25 was a unicorn. He could do everything, right? But he's hurt all the time. So, I don't want to take away from how good of a player he can be when he's healthy. That's all I'm saying. But this is an absolute malpractice. It absolutely should be lawsuits filed everywhere. But nobody's going to do it. And they want LeBron and Luka together. It sells more tickets. It sells more TV money. It's the whole 9. It's a joke. It's a joke. I
mean, but if you're
struggle,
you're right. If you're a Mavs fan, though, like after he takes you to the finals, and not even a few years after that, but a few months after that, it comes out that they're not willing to pay him a max. Who are you willing to pay a max contract for?
Well, there's bigger things here that happen.
Like what?
There's elephants in the room. No, there is. Like you can see Michael. I think there's an immaturity. You want me to be honest? I think internally there was remember, Nico's been around a lot of big time stars in this league too. Like he knows the stars' work ethics, right? He's been around Kobe, he's been around Michael. He saw it, right? So Michael Finley also has been around a guy like Dirk Nowitzki. He's been around damn good players themselves. Like you saw the video where Michael Finley just takes the beer out of his hands, right? Which I think it's ridiculous, but he took the beer out of his hand, didn't even acknowledge him, and went and dabbed somebody else up. So you saw the disconnect right there. So that tells me there's something deeper happening when your assistant general manager won't dab up the franchise player. So that there is something that he was not doing.
All right, well, let me tell you.
Where they were no. I'm just saying where they got to a point where they're like, listen, he's not healthy enough. It's a knee or it's a calf. Blah 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 blah. His condition. No, just hear me out. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm saying that you can read the tea leaves here and see that there was absolutely stuff Luka wasn't doing that they needed more of for him to be able to play 82 games, right? Etc. Okay, so that's why they made the move. I'm not telling you it's the right reasons. I'm just saying that's why they did it.
Well,
what he wasn't doing.
It's wrong for two reasons. One is the fact they were in the finals just a few months ago, so whatever he was doing clearly was good enough not to get past the Celtics, which no one can do. The other reason it's wrong is you traded for Anthony Davis. Who are we talking about? You said how good he is. He's great, but he's the same guy, and he's older. Yeah. Talk about not accountable and the guy who rarely plays. Who are you trading for? What are you doing? What are you talking about? All the reasons that you don't want Luka there is that it's magnified 10 times more with a 30-plus-year-old body in Anthony Davis.
I'm okay with it.
It's just like, what are you doing?
I'm okay with if you want to bank on this, right? If you want to bank on bringing AD in and bringing 3 unprotected first-round picks in with it, okay, I buy into it then, right? Because if you believe the work ethic at some point is going to fail the Lakers, hear me out. If you really believe that, then I need a bunch of picks, right? Then I need a bunch of picks to be able to prove that's going to happen, and I'm going to get top 5 picks out of it. Because if not, you got 1 in 2029. You're really banking on his condition being that bad that goddamn 2029 you're going to get the number 1 pick in the draft. I need 1 in 2027 then. Because if you believe the work ethic isn't there, right, then I need 1 in 2027, 2028, and 2029. And the Lakers should be like, well, we believe his work ethic. We'll give them to you. So obviously they didn't believe in it that much.
Apparently they did. They had a deal for a connect and multiple other first-round picks, but it just lasted long enough for them to convince them they didn't need it. And
I think this is what Ryan said also. I think its ratings are down, and Adam Silver did this to get ratings up, to put a big-name player in a big-name market, and especially an overseas player, because it really makes no sense. Rudy Gobert is worth 4 first-round picks, and Mikal Bridges is worth 5, and you get 1 and a 32-year-old in return. It's one of the worst trades, I think, in history.
But that's why I think it's not rigged. That's why I think it's not rigged, because it's so bad.
Also, what Luka does not do is play defense. Like, he's an absolute hole, and all you have to do is go right at him. Like, Windhorst called him out in Game 3 of the Finals, and he was totally correct. Like, if you watch that film, all you have to do is go at him. And also what he doesn't do is shut up to the refs. He cries and whines and bitches to the refs, and they couldn't get through to him to stop doing it. Every ref hates him in the whole NBA. No hole, like 30-point triple-double is hard to do. He can do it on a nightly basis, but he doesn't do it on the defensive end. He's probably given up 30-plus points on the defensive end, himself.
No.
So it's still a top 5 player in the world at 25.
100%. And being 25. And this is going to do nothing but wake him up.
Yeah, and that's what the Lakers are banking on, right? They're banking on that waking him up, right? And getting him motivated, okay? Because I think that's the problem. I think that, like, again, that's not what I don't agree with it, but that's how they're looking at it. But they didn't get enough back. Like, so that tells me the Lakers
close.
Yeah, but that tells me this is what this tells me, right? This tells me the Lakers know, right? That like, so Nico and Point
right.
That tells me the Lakers he let the cat out the bag. So the Lakers knew internally that there was a disconnect, there was a work ethic issue, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's where they're like, oh, okay, we hold you over the coals end. We know you don't want to pay him, so we'll give you AD and a first-round pick. Oh, okay. That tells me everything I need to know.
Then, if they know that and you want to get rid of this guy, you're like, you know what? Hey, look, we want to trade Luka Doncic. You open it up, then you get 4 or 5 first-round picks and 3 players and whatever the hell else you want. Then you're set up in like, what's the, I don't know, like what the Lindros trade was in hockey, where it's set up the Colorado Avalanche. or the haul that Ditka gave up to get Ricky Williams for the Saints. Like, you set up these teams for the future, right? Like, yeah, all right, you're trading a generational star because you don't want to pay him because you know these things, but then you're going to give him away for not to say that AD isn't anything, but he's not number one pick Anthony Davis anymore. Came out of Kentucky, 19 years old.
Yeah.
This dude's 32. Yeah, he's got a championship under his belt, but there's no possible way you couldn't have gotten more. There's no way. Luka
And not
could
even
have
that.
two broken
Opening
legs.
it up,
and he got a Mickey
opening it up
Mouse
to
trophy.
different teams.
Yeah.
That's where you hit it on the head,
He
Ryan.
won goddamn Disney World. He won a Mickey Mouse trophy too. Like,
And that's where you got it right, Ryan. Because like opening it up to nobody and keeping it on the hush, that's what's ridiculous. Like you could have got more from the Lakers, but you also could have got more from the other 28 teams that there are out there.
Anybody.
You didn't even explore it. Like you didn't even explore it. That's the crazy part.
That tells me Nico's a fraud, and he's scared of his own shadow.
No, I think he's just a moron who really wanted Anthony Davis.
Because if there's a true disconnect, like if there's actually a true disconnect, right, you would explore all options to make this public.
Right. Yeah. He said that Anthony Davis is the guy that they wanted. That's what they wanted.
Or you're
and formulate a 3-team trade where you get like 6 picks from here, Anthony Davis from here, and then Luka goes to like Lakers or something. I don't know. Figure that out some way. There's no way you get 1 pick, Anthony Davis, and like that's it for a guy who's got 6 All-Pros. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we even talking about here? It's just malpractice, like I said earlier. It's fucking terrible.
I just think the guy's an idiot. I don't think it's rigged because the trade is so bad that it wouldn't be believable for them to rig it.
I legitimately thought Shams was hacked. I didn't think it was an actual trade. I thought he got hacked.
I think this guy's just a complete moron.
This is the first trade in history where the Shams or Woj, but it was Shams, says, because I know Woj is gone, but he says, yes, this is real.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's official. He got hacked, because when has he ever said, yes, this is real? Yeah. Like that's when you know it's just bad. Like when Shams is saying, yes, this is real.
Again, I'll give you devil's advocate to have fun with it, right? But when you talk about if AD plays, and we'll hypothetical, like he played 76 games last year, right? I mean, not a lot of guys play 76 anymore, and you're averaging 25 and almost 13, right? That's pretty good. So they're banking on that for a 2-3 year stretch. That's exactly what they're banking on. Not saying it's right, but they're banking on that they feel like they have a better chance to win that way. And again, not that it's right, just giving the other side of how they believe. That's exactly what they're banking.
I think that's 100% what they thought, and they're idiots for thinking that way.
Lakers.
But he must be that much of it. He must be that like Bucket. You said it. He's a black hole defensively, right? And it comes down to your work ethic and conditioning. A defense is a 1-2 thing. It's always been a 1-2 thing. Guys who play defense is just a 1-2. Doesn't take talent to play defense. It does not. Okay. So when you're in a finals game and you're getting exposed, and it looks like you don't want to play defense, like I'm just saying that will ruffle cats' feathers, man. Everybody watches tape. I'm just giving you.
Lakers set themselves up long term, and the Dallas is thinking short term, and they're morons for thinking short term because they think this team's good enough. Could it be? Maybe, but I doubt it. There's too many what ifs. Like Klay Thompson, what if he could shoot fucking 20% at any given night? He's over the hill.
Well,
AD's
like
32.
Injuries are what if right now too. I mean they're starting to pile up too.
I mean, they could sit him for the next 2 years though. He'll be 27, ready to go. It doesn't matter. Like the Lakers did it long term.
325 pounds. I mean, he'd be bigger than me. He'd be 325 walking around.
It doesn't. That's the other thing. Like people like complain about his weight. He's so good because he plays at that weight. Like that's what made him.
He can play at his own pace. You can't speed him up.
Yeah, right. You can play at that weight.
The best player in the NBA moves like he's like a 45-year-old playing at a YMCA. What are we talking about? Your fucking weight. Yeah. He's getting triple doubles every night. He stinks defensively too. He's won what? 3 MVPs? 2 MVPs? Like
he's good enough. He's good. But the difference is he's good enough defensively.
Yeah, but
as a center you can hide it because
the guy's been playing professional basketball since he was 16 years old. It's so hard to believe for me to believe that he was such a problem internally from a competitive standpoint. He's been playing professional basketball since he was 16 years old.
It's as simple as this. It's as simple as this. Michael Finley doesn't like him, and other people in the organization didn't like him.
And
right,
they're morons.
Listen, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's the facts here. That's why they traded him. I'm not saying that's the right.
They should sell the team.
I don't disagree with you. You know what I mean?
They just like, it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, the guy's 25. What does he want? He was in the finals last year. So if you're not going to pay that guy $300 million, who are you paying $300 million to?
Not only that, how are you not offering other teams this deal? Like you can't. There's no such thing as being scared because you're trading them anyway. So like, if you know that there's a disconnect and you know you're getting rid of them regardless of what you're offered, you're getting rid of them. You explore the other 28 teams.
He wanted one guy.
Yeah, that's why
that's just arrogance, and I think it's stupidity. But I agree. I guess like, now they have a 2-year window.
His press conference was arrogant. His press conference.
This is the last dance.
By joking about if all these.
This is the Michael Jordan last dance. You have Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, and Anthony Davis. It's the last dance. Like this is like they're the end of the.
They are pretty good. They are pretty good for right now. If they're all healthy, they are pretty good.
Where are they even at right now?
Well, let me.
Who's your number one guy? Because I think every team in the league, right? And what did he do in that final? He played horrible in the finals. He's the reason they got swept.
Well, I don't know if he's your number one guy if AD's on the court.
And AD can't be your one guy anymore. He can't.
He averages 18 shots a game. So I mean, how can he not?
No, I don't mean it from a production what he's putting on the court. You can't trust the guy to stay healthy.
Oh no, we're just giving everything equal that they play, right? That's all. Like I agree.
Right. I know, but like you just traded a 25-year-old because of his conditioning for a 33-year-old or however old he is, for a guy who can't stay on the court. Like, what are you talking about?
But I don't know if he. I mean, can he not stay on the court though? Like if he played 76 games last year, well, if he played 76 games last year, he can stay on the court. I mean, if he played 42 this year,
his track record is he can't stay on the court. But his track record is he can't stay on the court. And I also just watched like one Lakers game last week, and he got hurt in the second quarter. He didn't come back.
Yeah, and he's out for 3 weeks.
He still hasn't been back.
I don't disagree.
I mean, listen, this is why ratings are down though. Hurt or not, nobody plays. So I mean, honestly, if you're playing over 65% of your games, then screw it, because nobody plays. It's league wide. That's the problem. I just got this stat from Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson when their tenure together in New Orleans. They played in 34% of available games. They played in 154 out of 441 games together. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. 154 out of 441 games together.
I can make a case that Luka don't play either. So, I mean, you know,
I'm just in the finals though. The guy was just in the finals.
I don't deal him, right? I don't deal him. But I'm saying he played 22 games this year. Last year, he played 70. AD played 74, right? The year before that, 66, 65, 66, 61. And he ain't racking up 82 every year. That's all my point is. So it's not like nobody, and buckets, to your point, nobody plays full years.
Yeah.
Besides Joker. And that's why he's the best player.
Mikal Bridges. That's it. Mikal Bridges.
Well, Joker does. Joker don't miss a night.
Mikal Bridges hasn't missed a year.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing Mikal Bridges to the goddamn best player in the league. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, I know.
It's a simple process.
Well, listen, circle back.
Circle back to this. Let me finish this, goddammit. Let me get to this point. There's a reason there's a guy who's hoisting trophies and got a little dynasty on his hands. There's a reason behind this because he plays every night. So there's chemistry.
He's got one trophy, but I agree with you.
He's been doing another one, or as close to. He was in the final. Either way.
I'm pretty sure the Lakers have been pretty shit. Other than that 1 year.
So,
he made the Western Conference Finals the 1 year. He won the playoff series 2 years ago.
I mean, Joker
won the finals the 1 year.
Playoff series, Joel Embiid. He won first round playoff series.
Yeah, I don't know what.
And the NBA awards, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, it's a joke. Rudy Gobert has a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He stinks out loud. He might be 4-time. I don't know. He stinks. He's not the best defensive player in the league. No shot. Okay. Also, Domantas Sabonis did not make an All-Star team for the second year in a row, and he'll be on an All-NBA list. So when those all NBA teams come out, first, second, and third team, he'll be on the list. So he's a top 5 player in the West, but he's not an all-star. It makes no sense. Like, the awards make no sense. So the awards I could care less about.
The
But,
second best player,
like-
the second best player in the league plays for OKC.
Absolutely, and he should have been MVP last year. The joke
And
that he
plays-
wasn't.
and he
Yeah.
plays on a nightly
Good stuff.
basis. And he plays
Yep.
on a nightly basis. So you get the theme here, right?
Yep.
That's
The
the funny
team
thing
is
too.
here.
The Thunder,
The guys who
the Thunder
play
have a-
win. The guys who play win all
right?
games.
But
Tatum
to that
Brown.
point though,
Right, Tatum
to that
Brown
point,
play
though.
all the time. Tatum Brown play all the time.
yeah.
Every
But the
night.
Thunder
Other
are
losers
interesting.
don't. Other losers on that team don't. But those two dudes play every night. Tatum and Brown.
The Thunder and the
write 'em in the
Cavs
lineup.
are interesting.
Nah, write them in the lineup. Right? They're gonna go win another one too. Just write them in the lineup. And I hate to say, but they play every goddamn.
The Thunder
night.
and Cavs are interesting because every year they win a ton of games, but no one's ever scared of them. Like, the Thunder are up and coming. They got a lot of draft capital. Like, they're doing it right, and they're definitely going to be scary for years to come. But when it's playoff time, everyone else is playing with the same intensity and defensive prowess that they are. And they're just like, in the regular season, they bring it every single night. And so
Yeah.
do the Cavs. They bring it
At some
every single
point-
night.
At some point, you're
But
going to be.
no
listen,
other
listen,
team
listen,
does.
Don't compare the Cavs to what OKC's doing because they've been doing it for 2 years now. No. Just let me finish. Okay, you gotta experience it to win it. Buckets. Okay, this ain't first time in the dance, second time in the dance. I'm hoisting a trophy. All right, it takes time to win. Shay's a young cat, and as a young cat, you need a minute. You need a minute to experience it a little bit, right? I mean, even Tatum needed it, right?
Who's
Brown-
older? Who's older, Shea or Luca? Who's older?
Probably close. I mean, they're close. I
Shay's
think, right?
a year older. Shay's 26.
Shea's older than Luca. Shea's 26 years old.
Was that?
I thought he was younger too. I just looked it up. I thought he was
Me
younger
too.
too.
But Luka didn't win shit.
Yeah.
But it
I
takes
don't know.
time to get there. That's all my point. Like, Jordan didn't start winning trophies till 26, 27.
I know.
So
I'm just saying the Cavs are 41-10, and the Thunder are
Cavs
39-9.
are frauds. The Cavs are frauds.
Okay,
But the-
I'm
but
not
the
saying you're
Thunder
wrong. That's the point I'm making. I agree with you. I'm just saying it's funny that those teams they have this great success in the regular season, and it's because, to your point, they play every night.
Yeah.
They
I didn't know where you
go
were going.
balls to the walls every night. That's just where I'm going. Like, they play every night, like you said. They go balls to the walls every night, and that's why they win and have success. But then when the playoffs come, everyone else is playing with the same intensity, and they are playing.
Yeah.
So that's
But,
why I don't know. They never
yeah,
they never
I
scare me.
guess-
Every year they don't scare me. They're like
I
the
guess 'cause
Vikings
they're
of
both
the
young.
NBA.
I guess because they're both young, right? Like, they're both sort of young teams in a way, right? So that's the one way to look at it and why, like, maybe they haven't, like, played better in the postseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my only, like, not debate. It's just my only thing I can, like, think of why,
Well,
maybe
like
this year's
the-
different.
I just think the talent
Cavs don't really have. Cavs don't have a guy.
No,
Like,
they have
at
a
least
fraud.
OKC, like they have Shea. Like, Donovan Mitchell's not a guy.
Nah, he's a loser.
Like, he's their best player. Like, he's not a guy.
Yeah, but now is and I agree with you. I'm not a big on Mitchell, but is that because he's just 3 years older? Like, if Shea wins nothing in 3 years, are we saying the same thing, that he's just a loser? But puts up 35 points a night. It's fun and exciting to talk about now because he's young and it's a new team on the rise.
I never
but if
thought
they
about
play-
Donovan
oh.
Mitchell like that.
No,
Donovan
I've always
I mean,
Mitchell-
in Utah, I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he was a fraud in Utah too. So I think he was a volume guy. That's what he is.
Darius Garland makes more than Donovan Mitchell. That's wild. Okay.
Yeah, I think Darius Garland's better than Donovan Mitchell too.
I mean, I
yeah.
think he's 25. I think he's definitely got a shot at being better if he's not better than him. But I'm surprised he makes more than he does.
I
Yeah,
think
that's-
Drummond, Eric Gordon, gone. Paul George, I'm praying, is gone to Atlanta. You're seeing that tomorrow. We're waking up tomorrow. Paul George to Atlanta.
Let's
Eric
do
Gordon
it.
and Drummond gone. Can a man
Give
dream?
me Paul George for a box of basketballs, and we're good. Let's go.
Clear.
Just get that contract on. Like, that's my last gripe with tonight.
And maybe
Just
Garland.
because you have a max contract
Yeah.
slot does not mean you need to use it.
Yep.
Like, I hate that. Like,
Preaching to
just
the
because
choir.
you have it, doesn't mean you need to hammer it right then and there. Is it exciting short term? Maybe, not even. Like, you make that deal and you're just like, why? Like, you just screwed yourself for the
But
next 5
how
years.
did they
period.
get to that? How did they get to that point? Was exactly a year ago when they hedged their bet and they said, we won't try to tank and try to, like, sell the season. We're going to trot and beat out there again, but we're going to pretend like we're going to win something by trading for a Buddy Hield 1-year contract. We'll trade for a campaign 1-year contract. And it's just like, it's the same
Pretenders,
thing.
not contenders.
It's the same thing. Yep. It's the same thing.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, this is.
Yeah. I wonder
at
what
the end
Denver
of the day,
does.
nothing
Denver's the
mattered.
team I'm looking
Nothing
at.
mattered. Nothing mattered. And that's why I should have traded him in the offseason, because nothing matters. And nobody like Morey or anybody else or the coach, it's nobody's fault when the guy, if he played, we'd be really good. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Like if he played on a nightly basis or close to it, we'd be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. That's the sad part. So the fact they didn't move in this all season is the problem. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Because if he was playing, we know this. If. Like when do we get tired of if? Right? When are we tired of if? And that's my son. That was, right? He was. But I can't do it anymore. And I couldn't do it after the last postseason. That was the final straw. It was time. And they won't pull the trigger and they won't play him. So it's like we're in this no man's land. And I just think we deserve better as a fan base to be in this position. It's not fair to us. I mean, we're the only team, like we signed all these guys and nobody plays. You know what I mean? We signed Caleb Martin, don't play. We signed Paul George, doesn't play. We signed Joel Embiid, doesn't play. Like, is anybody else going through this?
Or JJ Martin, Caleb Martin, Paul George, Embiid.
What the Sixers need to do is they need to be thanking the Eagles because of this deep playoff run they're making, because they would be getting absolutely hammered if they weren't.
Yeah. It's coming too.
Yeah.
I mean, the new stadium can't get past the second round.
Yeah. No, we needed Jeff to go talk to his buddy down in Washington, get him to buy the Sixers, and then dipshit can go buy the Celtics because they're going to try to get sold. So
yeah, I would like him owning the Sixers. That would take us in a definitely.
Yeah, Luke, real quick. Is Lauri Markkanen even possible? Because I've wanted Lauri Markkanen for years. Is that even like
I just
possible?
don't see why they would. I just don't see why they would do that. Like, why would a team tanking for Cooper Flag be like, we'll take on 33, 34-year-old Paul George? I just like.
Yeah, like why does that name have so much traction? I feel like for the last 3 years.
Because in the summer it actually did make sense, and they should have done it because he was younger and it fit the timeline. He wasn't making a ton of money yet. So people are just obsessed with the ideas because it's what they should have done. But now it's just
they were talking about that trade for a while, and then he
it's a
signed
ridiculous concept
right?
now. It doesn't make any sense now.
That is true though. Luka got traded for 1 first-round pick. Nothing's impossible.
Yeah, but I mean,
Nothing's
I feel
impossible.
like Joe. I feel like you trade Joe tomorrow for like 4.
Dude, I'm still on the side of nobody wants Joel, dude. Like I'm still on that. Like you're getting nothing.
No,
There's not one team in the league that's set up to like, if Joel's the missing piece to winning a championship. There's not one.
You're wrong.
There's a lot of teams.
There's a lot.
Give me the team. If Joel joins them, they win a championship. Give me the team.
No, you're right about that, but you're wrong about people thinking that there being no one thinking that they are a Joel Embiid away. There are tons of people who think that. Guarantee it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I just disagree. I think it would be more of a team that's looking to put asses in seats, and for a business standpoint, they would do it.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of
not a
teams
contender. There's not a contender that would be like,
Atlanta.
He fills us out.
That's your
They're not a
pretend to
contender.
contend. Right. That's your. I'm just saying he has a market.
You're talking about a playoff team, buckets. You're talking about a team that's in a playoff. So anybody?
We're talking about a play-in team. When's the last time they won the playoffs?
Okay, but they feel like if
they wouldn't win shit. They wouldn't win shit. They wouldn't win anything.
They feel like if
they've been a 9-10 seed for the last 5 years.
Nobody's arguing this. Would you listen?
Yeah, you're right.
They internally would feel like as a playing team, if they got Joel Embiid, they'd be in the regular playoffs. That's how they would feel organizationally. Yes. And nobody can argue that fact. And besides
they'd be fine with that.
But there's
totally fine with that.
There's enough goddamn morons in front offices to believe that they can change it or it'll be different there. There's plenty of morons. So I never want to hear there's not a market for guys. You know what I mean? There's always somebody out there that will take a shot.
I think Memphis can make sense.
I'll take the gun charges. I'll take the gun charges over here.
Yeah.
They got Edie though. They love Edie over there. They're young.
Nobody
Oh,
loves
dude, he
Edie that much.
stinks. He stinks.
Nobody
He's
loves
a glorified
stinks out loud.
backup.
Yeah,
He's
nobody
a
loves.
out loud.
God damn it! Nobody loves bad footwork and slow feet in the modern NBA buckets.
Yeah,
Grow
he's a
up. You can't
He's
Instagram
Boban.
yourself as Mikey Buckets and say they love Zach Edey. Would you knock it off?
I didn't say
I
I
was
do. I
watching
said
that
they
too.
You're
do.
not listening to me.
I
now.
was
Not-
watching him in the
I know, I said-
tournament.
I know,
I'm
I said
like, how is
they
this
do.
dude a
I
top
didn't
10
say
pick?
I
This
do.
guy's fucking awful. He's so bad.
Oh, he's so slow. I feel like I can think about the dribble yesterday. With a Bam Meniscus at 42. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. We have fun here late at night, Marsh. You know that, babe.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just think I hope because this is what I'm saying. Is it worth trading him for what you're getting in return?
Dragons, nice.
Like if you're trading Joel, you got to get something in return. You can't get one first round pick. It's not going to do it.
If Heaven
So-
was human, I don't know what would happen if Heaven was human. But if Joel was movable, it would be moved. Disagree.
I've never
Because-
heard that. I'm putting that in my Tomisms. What did you
Wow.
just say? If Heaven was human?
That's what his handle is.
That's his name, dude. Like, can you read?
Oh,
Like,
oh.
I remember.
I thought you were
remember-
saying a quote. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
my first time.
Cyber
remember my first time reading. If Joel was movable, he'd be moved, right? So what I'm saying is, you're wrong because sometimes organizationally, teams are scared to do it. There's like you can make a case that they're scared to do it because they don't feel like it's enough to sell the fan base. That's the problem. Because they're about asses and seats too, even though he doesn't play. So there's probably part of them that got caught in like, when do you do it? When do you do it? Right? And they just never did it.
I mean,
And now
this guy he couldn't be more wrong.
I think there's
They made the plan clear to you last year. Like next year's the year. We're stocking the deck. They've never had any plan to move him.
no.
He's movable. No, listen, he's movable. What I'm saying is,
everybody's
I don't think.
fucking movable.
Yeah, everybody's movable. But is it worth moving? Like with the trades that you're going to be
Absolutely.
offered? No, but the
Yes.
trades that you're going to be offered, you might be like, you know what? It makes more sense to just keep them than it does to get rid of them.
Yeah,
And that's what I think the hole you've been stuck in, because it's like, what are you really getting? Like
You haven't
you're
found
the
the
only
depth
time you're
where-
going to
you
move
haven't
them
found the
is when
depth
you
where
give
it's
up on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we've gotten to the point, and I think
I don't think
this
they-
could be true.
And they might not be getting like 3 first-round picks back for him. They might be getting offers to 2, right? And just
It's
stuff
going to be the DeAndre Hunter type of thing. You get like a good player. He's not great, but he's good. He's more than playable. He's making a decent amount of money. You get another bad contract, and the picks, it's kind of like you see how it falls.
Yeah, we'll get Landry Shamet and
They'll get
All of
DeAndre
that.
Hunter and like, I don't know.
Bruce Brown, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Bruce,
Christ. All
Bruce
right.
Brown.
I mean,
Bruce
Jimmy
Brown
Oh,
Butler.
yeah,
moved
but
close in
Denver-
2 days.
Denver's a team I'm interested in for tomorrow because I think Porter Jr.'s gone.
Yeah, I like
And
that
Russ
for a
has been playing
swap.
well. Yeah, I think Denver needs to do something because they're kind of running stale over there.
Yep.
Like Jokic is great, but they're running stale. I think Christian Braun's been amazing, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him dealt. So like if they got something good in return.
All right, boys. Well, great show.
Go
Great
Birds.
times.
Yep.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Will Shipley will have a rushing attempt on Sunday.
Let's hope not for wrong reasons, right?
Oh yeah, let's backtrack.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's not be like we're looking for Will Shipley carries. You know what I mean? Let's pour it on.
Yeah.
Bring Cubbies
Good.
back. We're Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
Bring Cubbies a Super Bowl champion. Pencil it in.
That's who we're missing. The missing piece. The missing
Missing
piece of the
piece.
puzzle. The missing piece of the puzzle. Here we are.
Gets us over the Chiefs.
Eagles by 1 million. Sixers make no moves. Philly's gonna have the worst bullpen in baseball. And the Flyers scored a goal the other night. Congratulations.
Flyers
This
could
is
skate
AJ.
around outside tomorrow.
I'll close my blinds.
Mishkov got 7 minutes of ice time. Good for him.
And you can put the Flyers in my backyard over the last 2 weeks, and I'll close my blinds. Play amongst yourselves, boys. Play amongst yourselves. And nothing to watch here. I don't know. So what what a nightmare, but a great place. You know what I mean? We're in the Super Bowl, and the rest of our 3 teams
Stink out loud.
Yep, we're underachieving.
Yeah,
right now.
pretty much.
And stupid money aged well, huh? Johnny. Johnny. Now we don't want to spend any money on a goddamn bullpen. We don't see how teams are successful. I'll get into this down the road. I can't do this right now.
Let's talk about spring training next week. All right, we're good.
Yeah, we can hold up. We can hold up. A2D Wednesday nights. Like I said. Yep. Good.